the other matches to come. Barry, Terry and Brian are waiting for us, as usual.
Yes, thanks very much, Eddie. Welcome to Super League warm-up. We're trying to get the World Club Series out of our systems. You two guys, Barry and Terry, they join me. Tomorrow, you're going to cover a game featuring the Catalan Dragons against the Warrington Wolves. Can you promise us a first appearance of the season for Todd Carney?
Hopefully Todd Carney and not O'Brien Carney.
No, well, that's right, yeah, Todd Carney, the third best Carney to ever play in Super League after Justin and Brett. We can have a look at the sides now. Catalan Dragons got a couple of absentees. Eloi Pelissier and Oliver Elema out injured, or sorry, out suspended, I should say, from that game. They can welcome back, though, Remy Casti, Julien Bousquet, and, of course, Todd Carney is in the 19. Scott Giroux, his half-back partner, expects him to play in that game. No Rhys Evans, no Anthony England, and no Stefan Ratchford for the Warrington Wolves. They got a bit of bruised and battered in their defeat against St George Illawarra, but they do have Matty Russell and Roy Asatasi available for them. Well, they were defeated against St George Illawarra Dragons. It was quite a tussle. Couple of very bright spots for the Warrington Wolves in the performances of Ben Westwood, as we would have expected. Yeah. But the story of the season must be Kevin Penny, Barry. His return to form, his return to the team. Best player for the Warrington Wolves this season?
Well, you might look at his input and his influence and you might say to yourself, where's that come from? He's 27 and he's an overnight success. I've heard that said a few times as well. But Kevin Penny needed to show an incredible amount of mental strength, not just to come into an environment and a culture like Warrington, as he has been for the last season or so, trying to make his way, but just to deal with pressing situations. I personally think at the start of the game, he was running in and looking for contact a little bit too much, but when it come time to defence, he had to get his body in front.
That part of his game was always questioned, wasn't it? Could he defence? Would he put himself in front of somebody? Would he take knocks like this and be able to jump straight back up
until he sees the size?
Until he sees the size of the opposition.
I thought it was a decent tackle myself, to levitate and still clip him round the chops. But yeah, a good player, and this is my point in case. Not running into players, but skirting, flirting the line, trying to find a lazy defender, and he's making and breaking tackles, sorry.
What he always has had, Brian, he's always had enthusiasm, and it is infectious. If someone makes a mistake on the other side of the field, he's the first one to go up and congratulate him. And again, another good effort. He puts his body in front of the opposing player and he comes up with a tackle.
Brilliant fullback display. My question to you now is, do you think he'll play fullback against the Catalan Dragons? Matty Russell coming back in. Would you put Kevin Penny back on the wing?
I would imagine Matty Russell will slot straight back in. I think they were weakened when Stefan Ratchford failed to make that game, and I think it probably affects certainly the preparation that week. But to put in a dead set full-back into the right slot and utilise Kevin Penny and his abilities to avoid collision rather than running into people.
Let's hear you talk about the halves performance for the Warrington Wolves in that St George Illawarra defeat. Gareth O'Brien, I should say, and Richie Myler, a lot of question marks put against their performances. They will be going up against what is one of the preferred half-back partnerships in Super League, Scott Giroux and Todd Carney.
Well, Scott Giroux, Todd Carney, and Todd Carney in particular, he's one of those talented players that is big lads who defend in the middle. He wants to put you in uncomfortable positions where you don't want to defend. Everyone's been waiting for him to play. There's been a lot of talk about what he does off the pitch. On the pitch, he is an absolute genius, and I think Catalan fans will see some very good touches from him this year.
And Sky Sports viewers will tomorrow, 1:55 p.m, Sky Sports 3. Scott Giroux said Todd Carney sees things way before everybody else on the field. Next game, it's also a Saturday kickoff, 7:30 p.m. at the AJ Bell Stadium. It's the Salford Red Devils against Hull FC. No Kevin Locke, no Gareth Hock, so no Locke, Hock, and no double-barrel name in Ben Jones-Bishop. He is out, as is Michael Dobson and Corey Patterson. They're injured. Gareth Hock has joined Lee. Kevin Locke, we believe, might be going to Scottish Rugby Union, but he is out injured for this match. Junior Sow does come back in for Salford. Liam Hood and George Griffin, both of those on standby for their first appearances. No Steve Michaels, he's got caught up on the off-field scandals rocking Australian Rugby League. No Gareth Ellis, he's still out with a rib injury. Jamie Shaw will also miss this game. Tuli Talanoa and Seta Matassa come back in, as does Jordan Rankin. Rankin expected to play full back in that position. Hull FC, well, the bookies are giving them a 4-point handicap in this game against Salford. Salford getting the 4-point start. A lot of attacking players out for Salford, and they're coming up against a very solid Hull FC defence.
And they need to make sure that they turn up with the right attitude, because if you watch some of the clips here from Hull FC, this was in round one. They're very aggressive, they're very determined, the way that they get stuck into the opposing players. Just have a little look at this. The ball goes up in the air, as Huddersfield waiting to catch it, Sarr just times it to perfection, dominates the tackle, and no matter how many times that they were broken against Warrington. They're just getting back, and it's effort on an effort on an effort.
This was more impressive for me. Warrington will score a lot of points this year. They're a good attacking side, but to get back and again put your body in the way, there's not too much, you know, Terry, you talk about systems and structures. You can analyse this and pull it to pieces as much as you want. Defence is an attitude, very much so. We saw in the 3 games where the Australians in the World Club Series, they were very much defence oriented, and that's just about getting back, getting in the frame, and hopefully stopping the
defence
threat.
hurts you because it's not on your terms. Whether somebody's going to pick you out and somebody's going to run over the top of you, it is not on your terms. When you've got the ball and you want to go to the line and you want to play what you want to play, well, that's when you're in control. When you're defending like Hull are, they're turning up for each other.
Very solid, very strong defence. We're going to go to the other Hull side, Hull Kingston Rovers. They've been having some issues with their defence. They're hosting the Wigan Warriors. No Michael Wayman for the home side. Kevin Laroyer does come back in. Kieran Dixon available, and a bit of a conundrum for Chris Chester at fullback. Does he play Ben Cockayne? Does he play Kieran Dixon? No Matty Bone at fullback for the Wigan Warriors. Ryan Hampshire expected to deputise for him. They do have Sam Powell available after he was suspended and missed the game against Brisbane. James Greenwood, the front rower, is also available for Sean Wayne. Hull Kingston Rovers, issues in attack, Barry. Issues in defence, I should say. Issues in attack as well, creating opportunities, not making the most of them.
Well, they've got some playmakers, and I think they're coming up against a side in Wigan that put absolutely everything they could into last weekend. They'll need to get the defence right. They've got threats all over the pitch, and some of the combinations that are starting to come. I really like Campese. I really like the off the stuff from Albert Kelly, but the ball is going through hands, and what a magnificent position to be in for Chris Chester to have so many conundrums, so many different combinations. I tipped them against Wakefield and they let me down, but I think this is a special if you're a Robins fan.
When it's not structured, Hull seem to play with more freedom. When they're close to the opposition's line, that's when they seem to be throwing them balls that's not on. When there's people not turning up for each other, this is just an effort from Campese. He just spots something because he's that good of a player. He can see something in front of him. He can make something happen. But when they get down this end, and this is where you've got to organise, they seem to come unstuck a bit.
Wakefield Trinity Wildcats coach James Webster referred to these opportunities that Hull Kingston Rovers created but didn't take. He thought his team would have lost the game had he taken these.
Well, there's pressure when you're that close to the line and you need to get the passes. Phil Clark often refers to it in commentary about accurate passes, hitting the mark or possibly going in front of the player rather than behind them. If you get those wrong, then it often costs you a try. But when you're a little bit deeper in your own territory, there's not as much pressure, there's not as much anxiety, and there's a little bit of flow, and it's just natural, Brian.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, Chris Chester said we need to complete to win these games, and you would imagine completing against a team that might be tired, Wigan, would be the thing to do.
You've got touch and pass players as well, and you're trying to get them to restrict.
They've got to make sure that they complete high, because if you look at what Wigan played last week, they played to extra time, they played in a physical, brutal encounter against Brisbane
on a
heavy
field,
pitch. On a heavy pitch. Can they back it up? They've got to back it up physically, but mentally as well, and Hull have had that time off.
Well, they gave us a great game at Hull Kingston Rovers last year, I should say. Hull Kingston Rovers, there you go, there's your task you're being faced with. Widnes Vikings, they're hosting the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. Wakefield, 2 from 2. Widnes Vikings have kicked off their season with a draw and a loss. That loss coming last week against Leeds. They're able to bring Gil Dudson, Paddy Flynn, Ben Kavanagh, Patrick Alvan back from suspension, Kevin Brown back from concussion into the squad that lost against Leeds. Wakefield, Joe Arundel, he's available to make his first appearance after transferring over from the aforementioned Hull FC side. Kevin Brown will make his 300th appearance. Can Barry, the Widnes Vikings, well, they showed us last week they struggled against Leeds without Kevin Brown. They've got him back in here now. Talk about the effect he has on the team.
Well, the discussion point for me is how well Widnes play without Kevin Brown, and we all know what an influential, if we were in America, he'd be the MVP for Widnes, because he's in everything that goes right. Now, the game against Leeds, they went into it with just Joe Mellor and Danny Craven in the half-backs. Joe Mellor picked up a knock, and this was the only time they managed to get over the white stripe, and it's a barge over. Jeremiah's been really good for them so far. Looks like he'll be a tremendous replacement for John Clark, but it's not enough against quality opposition. We'll just take a little look at some of the impacts and some of the contributions that Kevin Brown puts in for his team, and they're good. But my question and my discussion topic, if you like, is who do they replace him with? Is it young Tom Gilmore, who's on loan at London?
It's difficult, because if you've got Joe Mellor, they've got Aaron Jeremiah that's playing now. By bringing Kevin Brown into the squad, they're hoping that he's not going to be picking up injuries. like he did in this game, but they're hoping that when Kevin Brown plays, and with the forwards that they've brought in as well, that he can't. When you look at Widnes last year and the year before, they weren't a big side, but in the squad this week, they've got Dudson, they've got Manica forward, they've got Kavanagh, they're going really big. That's one of Kevin's big plays, when he goes at the line. Unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't come off at him.
Yeah, that was the game. Yeah, that was the shot that was concussed. And Terry, you talk about the artificial pitch being an advantage for Widnes, but Wakefield have won there in their last three, the only 3 visits they've made there.
Well, they've won the last 6 games against Widnes, but if you look at all the games, they've all been close games. It's been 2 points, 6 points, 4 points. I think there was just one 10-point winning margin. Widnes know, Brian. Widnes know. And these 2 sides were tipped to finish at the bottom of the table. Wakefield have won 2. Widnes have got a draw against Wigan. Widnes know that they need to win this game. There's a lot of pressure on them.
And a win for Wakefield would be a huge
thing. They keep upsetting everybody, don't they, Brian?
Yeah,
they keep turning up, coming away with 2 points, and everybody else is sick because they're predicting that the other teams will beat them. Good on them.
Yes, James Webster very happy with his squad, happy enough to let Jared Samet go on dual registration with London Broncos. It brings us to this game. The World Series hangover for St Helens. Can the Castleford Tigers take advantage? Castleford have played 2, lost 2 this season, but they've lost those games very narrowly. The first game by 2 points. The last game out, it was on Sky Sports. They lost by a point, 13 points to 12 against the Castleford Tigers. St Helens, no Jordan Turner and no Alex Savelio for them. Can Darryl Powell's men take advantage? Guys, I'm not sure what to expect here. People have talked about St Helens wanting to get back on the horse as soon as they possibly can. Others have spoken about the physical challenge, short turnaround, the mental challenge coming back from such a defeat. How do you guys see this?
I see this as Saints turning up. They were beaten in all departments last week. They were bullied. They didn't take the chances. I think they had 3 opportunities in the first half. They got over the try line twice. They couldn't ground the ball. You know, as rugby players, and when we've been beaten in the past, you're disappointed. You get paid to play rugby. They played on the big stage, and I believe that they let themselves down. We didn't see Saints like we've normally seen Saints play, and I think Castleford rocking into town tonight, I think it's going to be a big
Can you put such a positive spin on it, Barry?
Well, Tez, I think that they'll look at themselves and they'll know that they should have been better. Yeah. You've got more knowledge of what it's like to be beat than me, to be fair, Tez, but I think what they will have is personal pride. They'll have uncovered and looked at everything that went right, and they got over the line. They did threaten the line of South Sydney, and it's small margins. It's a game of inches, and if the right decision is made, and I think on this play, Percival, when he watches it again, he'll think, should I have passed it? Should I have just tipped it on? There's a little bit more space for my winger.
And a lesson for the Castleford Tigers as well, on what you have to do to stop St Helens, Terry, which is an important point.
Yeah, it is, because you know that Saints, when they play on that front foot, they've got one man to look after, and that's James Roby. He will go any quick play of the ball. If there's a marker lying down, he's going to go from dummy half. But there was a couple of wrong options, try scoring opportunities, good field position like this. That was a good line from Percival, but was the ball out the back? There was many chances.
I think he should have run, Tez. I think 9 times out of 10, Travis Burns just pins his ear back, gets nice and low and goes down. And, you know, they couldn't ground the ball. And we're splitting hairs here. We're looking at what they should have done to... Sorry, no offence,
no offence to me.
We're splitting hairs.
Is it going in your eyes? No, I'm sorry.
We're wondering what they should have done. I think you'll see a much improved performance. You'll see a good attitude, and they'll look to atone for what they did last weekend in front of a marvellous full house.
Well, can the Castleford Tigers take advantage? We can go down and pitch side now and speak to a man that might have some inside track on the Castleford Tigers. And I want to speak specifically, John Wells, about their halves. Finn and Gale will be the halves in this game. No sign of Ben Roberts, their big pre-season signing from the Melbourne Storm. What have you heard about his absence from the side?
Word from the camp is that there's a hamstring tweak, there's a hamstring strain. They've obviously been getting into a lot of heavy-duty training in the 13 days that they've had off, the 13-day turnaround in effect before tonight's game. He came over, didn't he, Ben Roberts, with a big reputation from Melbourne, and he had a very good second half of the season as well, having watched quite a lot of the NRL games from down there last year. In his absence, though, this evening, Liam, Finn and Luke Gale, as you say, they form a partnership which has, again, coming out the camp, said it's been very positive. Lots of talk, lots of decision-making, lots of conversation about who's going to be the main decision-maker between those two, both quite forceful characters. We're just sort of taking us back to that 13-day turnaround. This, I think, is potentially ID'd by Cass as a banana skin game for St Helens. They've come off the back of a massive emotional high going into the World Club Challenge game, and then obviously a massive emotional low coming out the back. Now I would liken that probably to the week after Wembley, you know, a big final and then the come down after that. It'd be interesting to see how they handle that situation with such a short turnaround, mentally as well as physically. Physically, I don't think it's going to be a problem, and I echo what Barry said there in terms of the momentum is there to keep them going forward. They haven't got too much time to look at their feet and feel sorry for themselves. They've got to get back on the horse and go again. So it'd be very interesting to see how this works out. We will find out shortly, Eddie, but in the meantime I shall hand back up to you.
Thanks so much, John, Barry, Terry and Brian as well. Yes, back to reality for St Helens here tonight after the defeat to the South Sydney Rabbitohs, but one crumb of comfort for them, because when they lost to the Melbourne Storm by a 38-point margin 15 years ago, they recovered quickly enough and they went on to take the title in that particular year. And with men like Kyle Amor, who is obviously fit, raring to go and ready to have a bash at Castleford, it'll be interesting to see how they scrub up here at Langtree Park tonight against Castleford Tigers, the team of 2014 who pushed them all the way for that League Leaders Shield last year. Phil Clark is sitting alongside me. An intriguing match this, Phil, for those two reasons. Castleford played 2, lost 2. Saints played 2, won 2. But what happened last week could have an effect.
I think it will, yeah. I mean, there's obviously an advantage that St Helens have. They've had exposure, playing at a higher intensity, a faster pace, and against the world-class opposition of Souths. But there's obviously the disadvantage that they had to take something out of them. When I watched the game again afterwards, the effort that St Helens put in defensively in the second half was remarkable to restrict Souths just to 3 tries in the second period. So I do think that they'll have to be a little bit drained. And for Castleford, do you know, Eddie, you mentioned last season they pushed Saints for that League Leaders Shield. After 27 rounds, there was virtually no difference between the tries scored and conceded by these two teams. You know, we forget how close the gap between becoming grand final winners and champions and a side like Castleford who finished 4th and then dropped out of the playoffs by losing here one of the games 41-0. There was very little between these sides, and the challenge now for the Tigers is to come here and prove that. You know, they've been coming to St Helens for a long time. You might have noticed that back in the 90s, the last time they had a win here. I'd be fascinated if any of their supporters who've travelled here tonight have been on the last 27 visits when they've gone away without winning. Because I think tonight's going to be the greatest chance for Darryl Powell. They've been to this ground and they have been embarrassed. They've played here 4 times and on average conceded 40 points every single time. But sooner or later it's got to click for them. And this could be well that night.
Well, as we've been saying, this is a big match to come for both Saints and Castleford for slightly different reasons perhaps. But for Michael Shenton it is big enough. If you remember, Michael Shenton, well, he's played the majority of his first-team football with the Castleford Tigers, but he had 2 seasons here at St Helens, and he played in a grand final for the Saints before he went home. But what do they say? Home is where the heart is.
Sometimes you have to go away to come back wiser. Michael Shenton left his home club of Castleford to try life nearer the top end of the table. He spent 2 years with tonight's opposition St Helens and learned plenty about himself.
Quite a lot. I think I really developed kind of off the field a little bit the leadership of someone like Paul Wellens. I spoke about it before. Is just the way he held the club in the highest esteem, and it was like his club, and if people weren't playing the best or didn't perform like that meets their standards, he'd tell you. That real honesty and that willingness to make others around you perform and reach the club's potential. I think it's something that I like to think that me and the others who are here now have kind of brought that to this club. It's that, well, people looked at Castleford in the past, say, oh no, you're down there, whatever, you're down the bottom half of the table, and that it's all you signing at Castle. End of my career now. We're changing that now to now we're going to be a challenging team. We want to be up there. If you want to come to Cash, you're going to have to be on your game.
With Saints, he experienced the magic of a grand final. He came home with ambitions stirred, and in 2014 captained the club to its best year in Super League and a Challenge Cup final. A fresh start this year with 9 new recruits to bed in and 2 close opening losses to make up for.
To move on from last year was really key for us, and we've done that. There's a lot of hard work gone into it, but we're just quite out there at the minute. Like for 80 minutes, we're just not there. We're showing really good glimpses, some real good team spirit in there, and some smart things, but also some really dumb things. It could be a real statement from us to go over there and like I said, meet this challenge head on. I mean, we're not going to be taking no backward steps. It's what we're about this year. I think if we want to really progress as a team, we've got to start this year on a bang now. I mean, we've got to, like you said, start again, and I think why not go and test ourselves against the best.
With all of Castleford's successes last year, only one element lagged behind: their much-loved but tired old ground. The future's looking brighter there too, with all local permissions now in place for a new ground here at Junction 32.
Feels like forever. Ever since I started at the club, there's always been talk of a new stadium, but a little bit of waiting time now before they can get the official go-ahead, but I think fingers crossed, everyone's pretty positive that's going to happen.
Do you think it'll happen in your playing era?
I hope so. I hope so. Knocking on a bit now. It's time for me to come back to Castleford. It's my team. I feel that now. I feel like it's my club. I want to lead this club to more success like that and get in the big games and hopefully be the person to lead the team out to an actual victory in a big game. And I think that's what, when I talk about the standards and the goals that this team's about, we've got to build that team spirit and that belief within the camp that we can go on those kind of runs and make that dent in the competition, that we're taken seriously enough to contend in those big games.
This is home then for you, home in a sense of the geographical sense of Castleford, but also in your heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
St Helens was Tinseltown on Sunday. The Gladiator was here, and Souths must have crowed all the way home with their World Club crown. So it's back to the business of winning Super League now for St Helens and making sure they're in the next World Club Series. Until Sunday, their defence was remarkable. Just 2 tries conceded in 160 Super League minutes. Primed and ready for another assault on the title, James Roby's been in sensational form for the champions already. A full pre-season behind him, he's been hitting the heights. 65 tackles alone in the game against Catalan. Now they face the 2014 Team of the Year, the Tigers, whose season hasn't started as they hoped for after last year's thrills and spills. New faces brought in by Darryl Powell, the reigning Coach of the Year, who want to put the memory of last year's playoff defeat here well and truly behind them. The Tigers should come out all guns blazing tonight, but can the Saints put Sunday's shocker behind them, or will they be fatigued after that heavy defeat? Well, the glitz and glamour of Sunday night's World Club Challenge is now a dim, distant and painful memory for St Helens and their fans. Now they get back to reality, or they hope to, as they take on the team that pushed them all the way for the League Leaders' Shield last year, the Castleford Tigers. T-News and St Helens will want to erase the memory of that record-breaking defeat to the Rabbitohs as quickly as possible. Not too many changes, though, to a side that reads like this. Jordan Turner picked up a nasty cut last Sunday. He's not recovered in time. Josh Jones returns to action in the centres, having started the season against Catalan Dragons at loose forward. Still no Luke Walsh, you'll notice, so Burns and Wilkin continue as the half-back partnership. Up front, Alex Walmsley returns to the starting lineup at prop forward. Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook gets his first start of the season. He's been on the bench for the last 2. Just a couple of changes on the substitutes bench. Mossy Masoi started against Souths. Greg Richards comes back after missing the World Club Challenge and the big win at Salford. For Castleford, who have an awful record in away games against St Helens, they've not won in this town for almost a quarter of a century. Well, the back line is unchanged, apart from the fact that Liam Finn comes into the starting lineup. He replaces the former New Zealand and now Samoan international Ben Roberts, who's out. The forwards unchanged from the 1-point defeat in Perpignan. Hooker Scott Moore began his career at St Helens and made history when he became the youngest ever player in Super League, appearing against Wigan when he was just 16 years of age. Two new faces on the bench. Last year, the much-travelled Matt Cook and 20-year-old Mike McMeekin. They were both at London. They make their debuts for Castleford here. For Cook for a second time, having been at the club on loan in 2008. So how will Saints perform after Sunday's defeat to the Rabbitohs, and how will Castleford perform? And John Wilkin, there he is, the Saints skipper, and alongside him the young daughters of the chief executive here at the St Helens Club, Mike Rush. It's Elizabeth on the right, she's 9, and Alana, who is 5. And it's a big night for those two. It's a big night for Mike Rush. And boy, is it a big night for St Helens, Barry.
Well, two intensely motivated teams. Castleford trying to get 2:15 started, and St Helens have the weight of the town on the shoulders, and I'm sure they'll feel they let themselves down last week. Players who normally will turn up, make tackles, break tackles, put passes right on the button, I don't think quite hit the mark against a fantastic South Sydney team. But Castleford won't let them have their own way. They've got their own agenda. They've got 2 points clearly in their mind.
And they have that shocking record in away games against St Helens. They've failed to win any of the last 27 visits to this town. The closest they came was a 32-all draw in 1998, and they have lost all 18 of them since. Well, John Wilkin, he plays with a smile on his face. He lives life with a smile on his face, and well, he's had to put a lot behind him this week, I'm sure, after that 39-point drubbing by the Rabbitohs. Jordan Tansey at fullback for the Tigers. Scott Moore as well. Scott Moore, he began his career with St Helens. 73 appearances, and now he is here with the Castleford Tigers. Let's see how we get underway. Jordan Tansey gets this game in motion, and I think it's vital that St Helens settle down quickly. But for Castleford, their record at the start of the season, having played 2 in Super League, waited 13 days for this match, they want to get their season up and running as quickly as possible.
They were unlucky against Catalan. We watched the game on Sky Sports. 1 or 2 decisions didn't go their way, but I'm sure Darryl Powell will look a little bit deeper, peel back the layers, and say we need key areas to be absolutely spot on. And I suppose the question about St Helens is how much physical and mental emotion have they drained, or has been drained out of them because of that big match last week.
Well, Alex Wormsley taking the ball up, the former Championship Young Player of the Year. Ball is fed back eventually to Travis Burns. It's a long, deep kick, and Tansey is underneath it. And Jordan Tansey will run this ball back. Only, though, as far as Kyle Amor and James Roby and Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook in there very quickly as well. Liam Finn, the dummy half, acting halfback Liam Finn, preferred to Ben Roberts, who is obviously taking some time to settle in. He's got a little bit of a hamstring tweak as well, so Darryl Powell taking the decision to keep him out of the firing line for the time being. Scott Moore, former England international, he was the man at dummy half, and this is Grant Millington. And he will play the ball to Moore again. 14 metres they were from their own line. 16 is the jersey worn by Junior Moores, the Samoan international. That's a great ball wide to Solomona. And Denny Solomona gets to within 5 metres of the Saints line. He wasn't tackled, now he is. This is a great raid that has reached the final tackle for the Tigers. And Gale finds Finn, and they're spreading it wide. Here's Tansey, who's got the man on the overlap here. Michael Shenton dumps the ball down. It's Tansey again, chips the ball over the top. Bit of a nothing kick, really, in the end. It was a poor end to a great set.
Well, it's a tremendous break from Junior Moores. Big, powerful back rower. Gives a big see you later to John Wilkin. Offloads the ball. But after they'd made this break, they struggled to readjust, to find some composure and put a careful kick in, a calculated kick. It was a little bit rushed, and it gave St Helens the ball in their own goal.
In that Castleford defeat against Wakefield, Barry, at the start of the season, Castleford got off to a flyer, and a lot of it was due to Junior Moores on that right edge. He caused all sorts of problems for Wakefield's left edge defence. I'm sure St Helens will have watched that. Well, they got a close look at him there, John Wilkin in particular. Let's keep an eye out on the number 16 for the Castleford Tigers throughout this game.
Saints trying to move the ball wide to the left-hand side where they do and find Adam Swift. Did he have a foot in touch then? No, the touch judge keeps the flag down. So Saints are able to continue on. It's Wilkin again. Here's Amor. He gets them to halfway, but that is the fifth and final tackle. Oh, he was very close, wasn't he, Swift?
He did well, right on his tiptoes.
But did he touch the line? Well, anyway, it doesn't matter now because the ball will run dead in goal, and Jordan Tansey will retrieve it, and Saints will face a 20-metre restart. Stuart?
That's all it takes. Touching the line there. That should have been scrummed back on the halfway line to Castleford at that time.
Just a word on that kick, Eddie. I wonder whether the tactics, the strategy from St Helens is to slow the game down a little bit. They were in that intense battle last week. They might not want the ball in play as often as it normally is. Typically, Super League teams try to keep the ball in play, keep the game as fast as they can. Certainly St Helens like it nice and fast. Perhaps they're taking a more conservative approach to the first quarter.
4 tackles gone. St Helens have restricted Castleford to their own half, so Gale has to pump the kick over the head of Tommy Makinson, and it bounces back on itself. Makinson retrieves it underneath his own sticks and will run this ball back again. Goes round Junior Moores, but good tackling by number 23 Michael Channing. Amazing the number of former London players who are on show in the Castleford team tonight. So many of them have played for London, either on loan or indeed on the books of London Broncos. You add in Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook, I think I make it 7 or 8 former London Broncos and Harlequins players who are here tonight. Makinson isn't one of them. He's Saints and has been all the way through. But here is one of them, Big Louis.
Made the right decision then. Makinson tipped it off to his prop forward, loose forward, who cut back inside, took the field position, and Saints on the ball.
With Johnny Lomax in centre field, but they've reached the last tackle here of this set. Lomax just holding his wrist or his ribs a little bit gingerly there. Wilkin drifts the kick into the corner, buys some land. Tansey not interested.
Well, Eddie, that's off the island again. I think they're going to try and slow the game down, try and gradually get themselves into it, get into the grind, as they say. Just slow the game down, play it at their pace. Good game management from John Wilkin.
Last away win against St Helens almost 25 years ago for Castleford, 29-16 at the old Knowsley Road ground in October 1990. Graham Stedman got 23 of those points from 3 tries, 5 goals and a drop goal.
Well, he was a classy player for the Cast side, and they've got 1 or 2 talented players out there. I love Justin Carney, a tank on the flank. If he can get the ball in some space, we're pretty certain he'll get over. But I think the lesson for me, and the Castleford supporters are aware of this, if they're to win here, they have to convert the chances into tries. The ball's come free here. The referee says that's what, a knock-on. Come forward. This is a bad blow here for Scott Moore and the Tigers, although no, they said that St Helens knocked the ball free and knocked the ball forward, so they'll get the ball again. The Tigers can't afford, I don't think, to start by giving their opponent's ball at this end of the field.
Yeah, there it is, Phil. A snatch from Alex Walmsley, desperate arm out, just targets the ball and pulls it from the grass, but a nice offload from Nathan Massey, possibly again just trying to speed the game up to their pace.
Channing trying to do that here, but he was collared by Joan Greenwood. Moore, ball comes into centre field once again. 5-day turnaround for Saints, as Barry says. Perhaps they can be excused for just trying to slow things down a little round the ruck if they can, because this will test their mettle against Castleford, the side that's been waiting 13 days for this game, and they've been training the house down. Shenton, though, is halted by robust challenges from Percival and Makinson. Jordan Tansey is the dummy half. Now, Oliver Holmes drags Castleford another 10 metres further forward. Scott Moore at dummy half. Into the arms of Finn. Finn then to Gale. It'll go high off the right boot of Gale. Swift's underneath it. The ball is still in play, or it was. It isn't now. That will be the turnover.
Dennis Solomona jumped higher than his opposite winger. I'm very sure that Adam Swift had that right up until the point he got a pair of boots in his face.
I think it's good play from Castleford. Too often in the game of rugby league, we see a team just kick the ball to the opponents, allow them to catch it freely without any pressure. At least the Tigers are challenging for the kicks.
Amor doesn't make too much progress with those two around him. Important night for Saints for a number of reasons, not least the fact that the victory would produce their 200th weekly round home win. And that comes from 252 matches. It's an amazing 80% success rate. You just caught a glimpse there of Luke Dawn, the Castleford Tigers' regular fullback, who has yet to appear this season. Roby gets the ball away to Amor. And Roby with a scampering run, typically from dummy half, and he gets the ball away as well. This is Greenwood.
Not the best place to kick from, lodged on a sideline. Goes up into the air.
Angular and high from Wilkin. Knock on by Tansey. Big error. He knows it too, does Darryl Powell.
No pressure on Jordan Tansey. Had all the time in the world. And that ball certainly went up high. He's expected. That's his job. He needs to catch those. He knows it. Castleford need to be on task. Need to use that extra energy that they've gone into the game with.
Well, an error from Tansey. It means that St Helens will have head and feet at this scrum. 10 metres away from the Tigers' line. This is the first real opportunity for them.
And it's a chance to show what a team game's about. Helping out your teammate when he's made a mistake. His team have got to hold out your sets, and this is dangerous because the St Helens side are renowned at crashing over when they get close to the line. Roby scanning the defence, sending Walmsley charging. Oh! Over.
Almost through was Walmsley. He nearly took Oliver Holmes with him as well. Roby gives it to Wilkin. Wilkin then to Travis Burns. That's good defence from Luke Gale. Wrapped up Travis Burns. Roby, short ball on the charge. And nothing coming there.
Good work from Castleford.
Great defence. Greenwood is held up. Here is Wilkin. Stabs it through with his foot. Whoops. And the ball flicks, comes off the boots. And I think that Luke Gale was offside.
Yeah, that's
right. If it wasn't him, it was one of the others.
Yeah, I think sometimes there's different opinions. If you're in that front line, do you stick your foot out, the possibility of a ricochet, or do you let it go expecting Jordan Tansey at fullback to sweep it up and mop it up? Luke Gale in an offside position, collects the ball. As you see, there he is. What a very good liar, Gaelic.
Well, here they come with a repeat set from 10 metres away. Will take a big effort from the Castleford defence here to keep them out as Walmsley plays the ball to Roby. And that was Wilkin. This is Burns, short ball to Ateleve. And Ateleve, now was he tackled? Yes, he was. He didn't ground the ball in the in-goal area, so he thought that might have been a double movement. Wilkin, short ball again from him. Ball is laid back to Amor. Kyle Amor goes for the line. And has he got it down? The referee says no, he's held up. This is tremendous defence from the Tigers.
He was in a good spot, Richard Silverwood. Couldn't see the ball down on the floor. This is the first time. There we go. Is it Ateleve? Does he get that ball down? The game's carried on.
And Swift just got to walk in down the left-hand side. All the pressure told. That was about 10 tackles in succession that Castleford had to come up with. There's a scrum down, then there was a penalty against them, and in the end Adam Swift over for his first try of the season in his 40th St Helens appearance.
It doesn't matter how good you are at defending, you can't continue to do it for long periods of this game. Jordan Tansey fumbles the ball and knocks it on. Here's the penalty for Luke Gale being offside. All building pressure and adding to the stress levels in defence. Kyle Amor goes close. He's held up over the line. And from the ensuing play, good hands, right on the button, and the overlap is found. Beautiful pass by Lomax. And all Adam Swift has to do is put the ball down. Wonderful play from St Helens. Good composure, easing themselves into the game, and that will do their nerves the power of God.
First blood then to the Saints, courtesy of Adam Swift. As I say, he's on his 40th St Helens appearance, 30 tries before tonight. A try here in the 41-0 playoff win against Castleford last autumn. And Mark Percival with the headband, and that's a legacy of Sunday's match against South Sydney Rabbitohs. We'll try and add the extras. And he tries to draw it over the bar, which he does. Great kick from young Percival. St Helens are ahead by 6 points to 0. And good evening, Brian Carney.
Good evening, Eddie. Castleford Tigers getting their numbering and spacing all wrong on their right-hand side. Tansey make an effort to get across, but St Helens looked to me like it was 8-on-5 at one stage. The damage done in and around the ruck. That's what you'll get when you've got to make repeat tackles. Barry McDermott referred to it. Tackle after tackle will condense you in and around the ruck, and a good side will then shift the ball out wide and look like they've got 4 or 5 more men on the field, as Saints did on that occasion.
We might have expected a try from Adam Swift tonight, because Castleford have been here now 5 times, and Swift has scored in 4 of them. So a great record on this ground for Adam Swift against the men from West Yorkshire. This is at Tiller Bay. 13 minutes gone. Saints 6, Castleford 0.
Haven't they got 2 quality wingers at the club at the minute, St Helens? Makinson, who's famed for those fantastic finishes, and Adam Swift. They seem like they're having their own competition to see who can score as many quality tries. It's all good viewing if you're a St Helens fan. If you're a Castleford fan, you just want some relief and some field position, and you want Jordan Tansey to make as much ground.
What a brilliant kick by Roby. Look at where Castleford have to bring that back from. James Roby's kicking game, not one of the noted parts of his game. On that occasion, he's come up with a cracker. The chase, equally brilliant from St Helens.
It was, and it just wouldn't settle down for Jordan Tansey, would it? And obviously his confidence may be a little bit shaky after the miss of the high kick that came at him just about 5 minutes ago. This, meanwhile, is Justin Carney. Scott Moore will scamper away from dummy half. Adam Milner on the bench tonight, by the way, for Castleford. He missed the trip to Perpignan, vying for the hooking role with Scott Moore this year. The role, of course, vacated by the departure of Darryl Clark to Warrington. And I don't think we should underestimate, actually, the size of the task that Darryl Powell has got on his hands this year, because that great team of last year was broken up and has had to be rebuilt. And the coach of the year will have to show his true colours here tonight. There's a mistake from St Helens. It's a free play. Liam Finn has it, and it's still play on because he's not tackled properly. And here comes Andy Lynch, and they're not tackling them. Finn gets the ball into Gale. It's still 0. Shouts the referee. Millington. This time he is tackled by Greenwood and Amor.
There we go, Eddie. There's the first tackle. They're in good ball now, Castleford. One of the few occasions that they've been down this end of the pitch. What can they come up with?
Well, Moore looking to find something. Finn, short ball to Holmes. Oh, great hit. Wonderful tackle by Percival. Shenton then to Finn once more. He's looking for the options right and left. Roby and Mossy Masoi saw it coming. Gale, with Gale, flat pass, and a chance here for Moores. That's a good ball out the back, but Denny Solomona just couldn't take it in. It was a bit ambitious. Okay, that's probably why Darryl Powell a little frustrated, but if it had come off, we've been saying this is one of the tries of the year.
Well, that's outstanding, Eddie, to hold the ball, have a good enough purchase on it to get around a player, and then an underarm grip. Denny Solomona, he knows that's a chance gone begging, and I don't know whether Darryl Powell is disappointed with the fact that Denny Solomona didn't get that, didn't manage to pouch that. But the one constant in this Castleford team has been Darryl Powell. He's groomed and got ready 2 men of steel in Darryl Clark and Rangi Chase, and if you're a player, Brian, you'd come to the club because you have a good chance of getting man of steel.
Well, yes, he's certainly done well with those players, Barry, and Eddie, you're right, he has to rebuild. That was a chance for sure. I don't know that he could be too disappointed with Junior Moores. That's a great ball around the corner from the big back rower. Denny Solomona will look at himself and think that's what I should have taken.
Well, Scott Moore there saying that Mossy Masoi released the ball, and then Scott Moore gave it him back just in case it was deemed to be a foul tackle with more than one in the tackle. Wilkin, they're moving it, but then Jones loses it forward, and Denny Solomona picks it up. The referee says that's the 0 tackle, so play on. Oliver Holmes again.
It's always interesting. One offload leads to another. Here's the fumble potential for... No, he kept hold of that, Stuart.
Yeah, play on with that. Good offload. Good offload by Millington to Gale. Gale looking for support. It arrives with Shenton. Shenton's cut down by Percival. That could be a penalty. Richard Silverwood's patience being tested. Here is Lynch. Lynch goes down. That's tackle number 3. He was on his back. Scott Moore to Finn, and here is Gale attacking the line, gets a short ball away to Junior Moores. Wilkin deal with the threat, he had to as well. As Junior Moores was coming at him, full pelt. Liam Finn, back it comes now to Millington, who he didn't know whether to get rid or have a dash himself. Had a dash himself, then gets the offload away. Shocked everybody, including Finn. Here is Oliver Holmes. Tries to get away from Burns, can't do so. Last tackle coming up here for Castleford. 12 metres away from the line. The kick then from Finn goes out to the right-hand side, looking for Solomona. He's knocked that ball forward.
And it's a competition.
There's a bit of a problem there for Solomona.
It's a competition when the ball goes up. He's got enough flight time, hang time on it. Dennis Solomona nervously holding that knee, really jumps as high as he can. Does he possibly collide with Adam Swift? But a good passage of play. And I was going to say, sometimes in a game you're feeling each other out as a team. The game's starting to open up. There's where the bang comes from Dennis Solomona's knee.
I think it's the landing as well.
Or the landing, yes, I was going to say that.
You'd have two guesses then at diagnosing the knee injury there, Barry, wouldn't you?
I'm allowed to, Phil. I'm allowed. As long as I get it right eventually.
There was an opportunity there, and I don't think it was Solomona catching the ball and then flying like 5 or 6 feet in the air, dotting it down. The decision should have been to talk to Channing and ask Channing to sweep in behind him, and Solomona looked to bat the ball down on that occasion. Yeah, Channing and Junior Moore sweeping around, a little bit of communication, winger coming off the wing, leave it to me, I'll bat it back to you, and you centre and second rowers sweep around and cause St Helens some trouble. And if St Helens do happen to pick up the ball, well, you've got two people switched on and ready to react to that.
That's the class in playing wing there, Brian. I was fascinated by that.
That's the class in not catching it, that's for sure.
A problem for Dennis Solomona here. Was it that collision with the hip of Adam Swift, or was it the landing? Professor Clark said one thing and Dr. McDermott said the other. So, fortunately, the experts are out there looking at him.
They need him back on the field, don't they? He's not looking too good here. They'll give him a little bit longer to see if the pain eases. But I think what we've seen, Eddie, in the opening quarter here is just how good Saints are at defending the try line. They've had a couple of chances, Castleford, but every player seems to be in the right position. There hasn't been really much of a gap, and some of one of those. I remember when we came in September, the playoff game, tackles held, the player will have to play the ball. It ended up 41 points to nil, but in the early stages, Castleford had some chances, couldn't register them as tries, and ultimately they all end up going St Helens' way. But they do, I think, need to convert some of the chances very soon into some points to give themselves some confidence.
And they need to lock up the ball as well. Too many times the Saints ball carrier is allowed to get the ball away. The big men, I tell a Bay, Mossimer saw it. You need to put your body in front of them, but also wrap up the ball.
Castle done it as well, though, Barry. Castle got some great late offloads away.
I've seen a few good ones. I enjoy it, Brian. It's an aspect of the game that I don't think we use as much as we should do.
Off the ball, go! 2, release James, square!
Second tackle completed on Channing. This is Shenton, who feeds Carney. 6 ex-Londoners in the Castleford ranks, 2 for St Helens, Ateleve and Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook, so a total of 8. When you think the Londoners struggling their way into the Championship with the others who are elsewhere in Super League, you just wonder what might have happened if everyone had stayed put.
You put Dan Sargent and Tony Club back in the team. It's a pretty formidable, impressive team, but yeah, I think they're having an offload competition, these two teams at the minute.
This is a free play. Percival seeing to it that Oliver Holmes isn't going very far, and Burns coming in for good measure. He doesn't like the attention he's receiving, and the referee agrees with him and says that's a penalty to the Castleford Tigers.
They need to keep the focus and discipline on the free play. They're trying to slow it down. Obviously frustrated that they've handed the ball over. Travis Burns and Percival not allowing Oliver Holmes to play the ball when he's entitled to do so, and they've given away 30 metres.
Well, last year Castleford had some brilliant little intricate players on tap situations like this. They had a swing-back switch play that came up with 1 or 2 tries throughout the course of the year. They need one here now to unlock this Saints defence.
First penalty for Castleford in this match. Can they do something with it? Scott Moore, Liam Finn, and here comes Holmes again, gives it to Shenton. Pretty good defence though from St Helens still, but they're inching ever closer to the Saints at line, and they might go even closer here with Carney. Carney using all his strength. He gets to the line. Oh, hang
God.
on. This could be a try. Has he got this ball down? I think he has. If he's got this ball down, Justin Carney, this will be a try.
Tackle 2.
What have they given? They've got no try on the field, Stuart. Mind you, we saw a few of these on Sunday here, didn't we? And the decisions were overturned.
Well, it was the same referee, Richard Silverwood. He had 3 decisions overturned. He's decided it's no try in this case. So he doesn't think the ball's grounded, but he's asked the video referee to check it, and I think he's probably got this one right this time. I think that's no try.
I think it's Tommy Makinson who does a wonderful job. At Televay, you can just see him. His back is on the floor. Justin Carney, with the most powerful thighs in the world, shrugs players off and fails to ground the ball. Good work from Tommy Makinson.
So the try is chalked off. It was short, says the referee, so the ball is right on the line. And here they come with Finn and Lynch. Lynch with the offload and on the fingertips of Nathan Massey. Right underneath the Saints posts they are. With Scott Moore looking left and right, going right. Gale with the short pass.
John, move off the levers.
Nothing there.
Go, 5.
Gale slides the kick in. Oh, that's good work from Televay.
Well, good pressure from the inside. I think it was Mossy Masoa. Didn't give enough time to the Castleford kicker. And that's the result. That's the reward. You just see him in the eye line. Right on the money.
Amore to try and get it away from Saints line. That's 3 tackles gone though. Only 10 metres gained by the champions here. They might get more now with Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook. No. Very quickly in was Grant Millington. Roby and a big kick up the middle again. Catalan Warrington tomorrow lunchtime. Sky Sports 3, 1:55.
Oh, a great kicks from James Roby. Great chase as well from St Helens. Up. That's straight across the chops, is it?
It is.
Travis Byrne again. What about the handoff? How would you describe that?
I think Carney saw this coming.
Well,
he knew what to expect.
Stuart, you better come in on that one, because this is going to confuse people at home watching this and wonder why this isn't more than just a penalty.
Well, we've had this debate over a few weeks now. You know, that is a strike straight to the head, and I'm sure the match review panel will have a lot of interest in that tackle.
But what is it then? What should that be, Stuart?
Well, I really do think there should be some extra action taken. At least, you know, have a word with the player and put him on a caution. But, you know, there's been quite a few of these in the first few weeks, and we need to get a grip on them.
Tanzi gets the pass away, takes the return, forward. Oh, he's annoyed, is Tanzi. It was a good ball back on the inside as well.
Mike McMeekin, isn't it? He's too excited when he goes through the line here. He knows he's probably in front of him, but he can't resist the temptation to throw it to his teammates.
Well, Jordan Tanzi does incredibly well to hold up the defender. Slot McMeekin, the former London Broncos player.
Not much in it. There wasn't much in it looking at that again, was there, Barry, really?
No, but it was forward. We'll have another look at that tackle. I'm not sure what you'd call that.
Well, he could probably argue he had his open hand, and the handoff from Justin Carney has knocked him off balance. That's if I was going in to defend Travis Burns on that one. Free legal aid for Travis Burns. He'll never play again.
And I think you have to say that that Carney's actions are actually legal, in that you know, it is legal to hand somebody off.
Not
an open
pick
hand.
him up by the throat. Because that's what he does, Stuart.
Well, I don't think it's quite that, Barry, but I'll go with a handoff, I think.
Very important team area for Castleford. They've had several chances and not gone close, but they have to remain a focus. There's a kick from inside the 40 metres by Travis Burns.
Just
has gone end to end, hasn't it, this game in the opening quarter?
It has, it is. It's a good game, it's a good contest, but at the moment, Saints just leading it by the 6 points. Channing goes down. 22-year-old Welsh international Michael Channing. Here's McMeekin again. Gets to the 40-metre line inside his own half.
I think we're all still going through last weekend, trying to pick from the bones what we've learned, what we can use, what we can move forward with. I suppose the question we'll answer over the next couple of weeks: who's learned the most? The players and the teams that were allowed to watch those 3 fixtures, or in fact Saints were one of the three that played in them. Will they have picked up something that they can carry forward into the next campaign in Super League?
Yeah, well, we'll see. We're seeing how Saints have coped with it here tonight. We'll see how Wigan cope with it on Sunday at Hull KR, and we'll see how Warrington cope with it in Perpignan tomorrow.
Well, that's a blow, Eddie. It looks like Andy Lynch is limping from the field. I'm sure we'll have some news on that. He's a very important player for the Cast Tigers. Holding his hip area. I wonder if it's a groin that's gone there, maybe. He's in some pain, he's in some discomfort. Andy Lynch doesn't leave the field easily and willingly. Makinson for St Helens. Ryan Boyle's replaced Andy Lynch, the number 15 in your screen there. He's definitely trimmed up, looks fitter, looks more agile. What can he add to the Tigers?
And he was in the last team that beat St Helens 2008. And the referee said that was not a knock-on, it went backwards. And that's high and not very handsome, I'm afraid, from dummy half by John Wilkin.
Perhaps just a display here of the fatigue. The ball comes free there. I think that's a knock-on, but the referee said it went backwards. I disagree. He didn't have the view we had on the replay. And then John Wilkins, really, the first time, made a poor kick for St Helens, territorially, out of play. Castleford are now edging their way downfield. They're no longer picking the ball up in their own 20 as they were in the first 10 minutes. They're now starting on the halfway line and are territorially gaining in the momentum.
You talk about the Castleford Tigers defence, Phil, and the pressure they put John Wilkin under, forcing him to kick that ball out. It's a good period for the Castleford Tigers. I do share your concerns. I'd like to see them maybe get some points with this pressure they have, but gee, they're defending exceptionally well.
Oliver Holmes for Castleford. 100 appearance and more now for Oliver Holmes. Only 22 years of age. Bags of experience then under the bonnet for him. 13 minutes to half-time. 6-0 Saints. And here's Massey. We missed a couple out then, and it bobbles somewhat untidily and is picked up by Mike McMeekan.
Well, it was messy, wasn't it? Too many of their attacking backline players early in the match haven't had the accuracy of the pass to find the man. Scott Moore darts from the acting half-back area, but they need some skill. It's a finesse to find the pass to break the line.
Gale, they're on the last and they're running it, but then Finn hoists it high. It's a tester for Makinson. Who's knocked that forward? Who's knocked that backwards? Knock on by Castleford. It was Justin Carney who knocked it on. He was airborne.
Liam Finn putting the kick up nice and high. And just to extend your point, there are plenty of workmen, plenty of tradesmen. There's no craftsmen in this team. I haven't seen anybody with that spark. We saw it with Darryl Clark last year. Obviously, he's not there now. Justin Carney, he's one of the players when Cast Tigers have the ball, you're waiting for him to get the ball in his hands. I think that's
Louis McCarthy.
Yeah. Just takes a bad knock from Shenton. Accidentally. Ooh. Friendly fire from Attila Bay.
Back of the head. It looks like he's okay, Louis McCarthy.
Brave play, Eddie. Brave play and competent defending by Louis McCarthy Scarsburg.
Down on the deck and boots, knees and legs flying all over the place, putting his head and neck on the block. Down to Rod.
Yeah, thanks, Eddie. Yeah, Andy Lynch, as we saw, limped off. He just felt his groin just pull out on the field and has come off for a rest and some precautionary examination of the area, and he doesn't look too good. And also lost, of course, a winger, Denny Solomona, who's off with a knee brace on, and he won't be back this evening by the look of it. And it's not good news for St Helens either, because Adam Swift, the guy who scored the only try of the match, has limped out of the action as well. So two wingers out, one for either side, and Andy Lynch nursing a groin injury as well. It's starting to get a little bit tasty out there.
Yes, it is, and that won't help Castleford's cause. Well, he didn't look as though he was out, did he, Justin Carney? He was out, obviously, but he was airborne. His feet went on the ground, and he flicked it back. Accidental offside, maybe. The referee just allowing them to have the turnover. Oh, Wilkin tried to slide that through the eye of a needle. It wasn't on.
Not the best, that, from John Wilkin. I'm sure when he catches his composure, that left edge will look at the right edge of Castleford and realise that Mike McMeekan, who earns his trade normally as a back rower, is playing in the centre, and Channing looks like he's having to take up a position on the wing, so they could catch him for speed, awareness, a bit of rugby brain.
Well, 5 minutes, I think, that John Wilkin would care to forget. First of all, the kick that sailed out on the full over on the far side, and then that attempted attacking kick that didn't quite come off.
Second tackle as well. That's maybe the most puzzling part of all of that. He kicked so early in the tackle count, and as you say, Barry, they've got a very attractive proposition on their left-hand side to attack it.
Finn pumps the ball high on the last. Makinson's underneath it as well, and then Carney. Oh, Carney got to him. Makinson has hurt the shoulder here. He still hangs on to the ball, though. Or is it his ankle that he twisted as he went down?
Well, obviously, Justin Carney is one of the bigger wingers going around in the game, and for many years, when he hits you, he hurts you. And I'm just looking at the shape of Saints, and I was going to ask you, Brian, whether as a winger you'd look at the misshape and as we see Saints go, come back to that.
Yes, with a weavy run from Johnny Lomax. Gets it out to Greenwood, further out wide to Percival. Percival flings the ball forward in desperation. Zero tackle, so Channing got the verdict there. Here goes Gale. Luke Gale with a good solid run.
Good play. Come on, get up and play quick. You've got a chance. You have to shift the ball. Oh, he's gone straight from there.
He has Channing. Doesn't make much ground, though, before he is met by solid resistance. He is Gale. Gale then into centre field to Finn. Showed it to one. Gave it to Holmes. Holmes then finds Shenton. Carney hugging the touchline, waiting for his opportunity. Shenton gets to ground quickly. He knew they were looking to shove him over the whitewash on this near side.
He needed to be up with that play. He was a little bit too far back.
Today.
This is Cook. And Cook to within 12. Adam Milner. Darryl Powell shuffling the cards here. Oh, it's a great run from Finn. And a great offload from Finn. Was he grounded? Was he off the deck? It's a forward pass anyway. Ryan Boyle was over and put the ball down.
Well, he's right on the spot, Eddie, but Liam Finn, I don't think it touches the floor here. He flicks it before his hand touched. Well, it's a difficult angle to judge it. Ryan Boyle pushing up, as the expression goes, pushing up into the next hole. Maybe this is that's not forward.
Well, it's ruled forward. The touchage on the near side. I think Richard Silverwood was thinking about it, but it was confirmed by the touchage on the near side. And that's why it's been this way. I think that pass is fine.
Well, it's the second try they've had disallowed on the basis of it being a forward pass, and all of us agree that that's two, shall we say, 50-50 calls that have gone against them.
Either way, they get done it again. I think that's a very harsh call against Castleford.
Was it Robert Hicks's call, Stuart?
No, Warren's early on the near side. Ball comes out of the back of the hand. There is a slight hint of it travelling forward, but the fact that it's come out the back of the hand, Richard Silverwood was certainly unsure, but had it confirmed from the side.
40-20 attempt here, but it might not matter because that's a wonderful kick to the in-goal area. Carney with a bit of work to do, he does it. Well, Darryl Powell will feel like he's lost a fiver and found a penny here tonight, because if you remember what happened in Perpignan with the Denny Solomona try as well, that really should have been and would have been awarded last year. Here they come again, though.
Good
Players
play,
on turning it in. It's Oliver Holmes.
And that was typical of what we saw from the Tigers last year. Taking chances and playing instinctively to find space and make the way upfield.
Here they come with Moores. Moores. Oh, it was a good idea, but I think the man who was supposed to be receiving the pass didn't realise, didn't read the script. Roby takes it forward on the free play. They get to him. That'll be the zero tackle.
It's full of errors, it's full of mistakes, and I'm sure the coaches aren't enjoying it, but it's entertaining, opportunistic, whatever you want to call it. Both sides have come to play the first quarter, a little bit conservative, and it's opened up in this last quarter.
It has, and here's Wilkin to Burns. He gets the ball away to Lomax. That ball went backwards, says Richard Silverwood.
Great defensive play by Michael Shenton.
Televey. Roby and Wilkin pops it up for Greg Richards.
They're setting up for some Eddie. Watch out for Johnny Lomax on Saints' left.
They go that way with Wilkin. There is Burns, and Travis Burns sees the line and goes for it. Richard Silverwood is on all fours, and he says not grounded, so here comes the last tackle. Roby bullets the pass out. It is Percival. Oh, now then, there could be a decision here for the referee to hand upstairs, and there is. Be interesting to see what he says. Has he given a try? He's given no try.
I think this is a try, Eddie. I think he does very well. Did he learn the lessons from last week? Percival, I don't think his foot's in touch. Does he get it down?
Well, the foot's fine. It's all about the grounding. Is the hand on top? Difficult to see from that angle.
I think it's a little more than 50-50.
This will show it. I think that's lost. Ball's lost. But that's no try.
And his first instinct was right.
I'm going to answer my own question, Eddie. No, he hasn't learned the lessons. Get your thumb round the ball up.
Well, to be fair, he was stretching, and it was stretching further than he could stretch, and that's why the thumb couldn't be there, Barry. I mean, not even you could have got your thumb round that one.
A lesson as well for Michael Channing in that. He got caught very, very narrow on that, very infield, very much infield, and the wingman there was left free. Channing has come from the centre to play out on the wing on that occasion, so he too will learn a lesson from that.
I'll come back to the question that I was going to ask you. Percival is now playing on the wing. He's a centre that can play wing. He's against Channing. Would you be inside and put in the communication, give me the ball and let me have a crack at this fella?
I think a few more opportunities like that might present themselves, and Saints were good enough to find the ball for the right man, the right time. He's just unable to ground it.
Milner doesn't make too many metres forward from that play at the ball. Here comes Ryan Boyle again.
That's 4, release in. Go 4.
Milner once again. Straight up the middle. Goes Matt Cook.
Very conservative approach, isn't it, by the Tigers? They've learnt the lessons from the playoff defeat here, but they perhaps took too many risks in their own half.
They're taking a chance here. They're taking a chance here with Shenton. So close again, Castleford. It's just the last pass that has let them down, and a couple of, well, shall I say, dubious decisions.
Well, I'm sure John Wells will take a look at that. He's a great friend of Michael Shenton. On first glance, I don't know whether the better option for Shenton was to actually run back himself.
Well, it comes off Johnny Lomax, so they touched his fingers, and the officials seem to have missed that. It's another disappointment for the Tigers fans. I do think that Michael Shenton seemed to struggle to pass the ball to his left-hand side, whether he twists his body enough. Doesn't find the man.
There's a definite deflection.
Yeah, he was called by the referee. He called it backwards. He called it went backwards off Lomax that way.
Backwards off Lomax.
Walmsley again for St Helens, trundling them over the halfway line. Roby gets it away to Richards. Walmsley to Travis Burns. Lomax. Finn got to him. Lomax escaped for a moment, and Oliver Holmes finished him off. Roby, a Talabay. Working hard is Oliver Holmes. They're all working hard in defence. Actually, both sides in defence. High kick here from Burns. This is a real tester, this. Oh, it's a header. It's a header off Luke Gale. And it went over the line, over the dead ball line.
Well, Michael Channing seemed to be the dominant person. There is a push, you're right. Good spot, Eddie. But Michael Channing, who's playing on the wing, gave the dominant call, then changed his mind. Luke Gale probably trying to taxi, shepherd, block.
Michael Channing is
onrushing chaser.
He's come off his wing to feel that, Barry, but he's run too far, actually, and ended up backing backwards to try and take that kick. A little less pace on his run. Time you run correctly, and you might be able to catch that going forward instead of having to retreat at the last minute, which got him mixed up with Luke Gale.
I'm sure there was a little shove on the back of Luke Gale by Josh Jones, but it wasn't seen.
I agree, Eddie. I think what Brian's trying to say is rush to the general area, small steps, try and gauge where that last kink in the kick is going to come from.
Travis Burns again, attacking the line. Good ball. Lomax. Lomax over the top. Makinson. And Makinson goes in for the try in the corner for St Helens. Well, chance after chance spurned by Castleford, and chance after chance turned down by the officials for Castleford, and Makinson makes them pay. Good try from Makinson. His third of the season now. Trying 6 of the last 8 games now.
Well, here's the mix-up from Castleford. There possibly was a push from Josh Jones, but watch Johnny Lomax
comes from one side to the other, not accounted by the defenders from Castleford. And he's the danger man for Saints. I've just been watching him for the last 5 minutes or so, breaking tackles, trying to disguise what he's doing, and a good finish by Tommy Makinson.
Well, Adam Swift on the other flank has scored tries in 4 of Castleford's 5 visits. As you can see, Makinson has scored tries in each and every one of them. That's 5 tries on this ground against the Tigers for Tommy.
Well, it's 2 tries to nil, but it's important that the Castleford players tell themselves and maintain a belief that it could be 2 tries all. The decisions haven't gone their way, they haven't managed to convert the chances, but they haven't been far off their opponents here. That has to be the lesson that they take into the second half, but they obviously need to convert the chances. The 2 tries disallowed for the 4 passes were very, very tough calls, in my opinion.
So it could be that Percival here should be kicking for a 12-all situation. As it is, he's kicking for 12-0 in St Helens' favour. Just pulled it in front of the posts. So it stays at 10-0. Coming up to half-time inside the final minute.
Wonderful set-up play. Just watch what Johnny Lomax does. He starts off his run on the left side of the play, on the inside, then pops up on the outside, creating the extra man. It was a bit of a speculator as he threw the ball into the air. It was back. Wonderful pass, and Tommy Makinson gets his try.
Tansey resumes with 20 seconds left on the clock in this first half, and Makinson will run it back only as far as Boyle and Moore. Richards to take it forward. Matt Cook just looking over the shoulder. The play the ball was taken before the siren sounded, so that will be the last action of this first half. Well, it could have gone either way, this. A couple of harsh calls for forward passes against the Tigers, and Saints have made them pay. Swift's try in the 11th minute. Percival added the kick, 6-0. And a couple of minutes before half-time, after it had gone hither and thither, he scored the try in the corner. Percival couldn't add the extras. It's 10 points to 0 at half-time. Round 3 of the First Utility Super League, and we will see the Catalan Dragons taking on Warrington from Perpignan live tomorrow on Sky Sports 3 at 1:55. 1:55, Sky Sports 3, the Dragons and the Wolves. Here the Saints and the Tigers, and St Helens, the champions, leading by 10 points to 0. Could have been a different story. Castleford have had a couple of tries chalked off for forward passes. Could have gone either way. And it might have been 12-10. As it is, it's 10-0 to the Saints. And Kieran Cunningham, the young coach of St Helens, this will test him the next week or two after what happened last week against South Sydney Rabbitohs. Said they've learned some very harsh lessons from that World Club Challenge defeat. The important thing now is that his players, and he, I suppose, and his coaching staff, they learn them. Darryl Powell, the coach of the year, the whiteboard is out, and he's having words with his team to try and sort out this second half performance. Not been too far away, to be fair to them, but they have now lost 5.5 games in a row stretching back to last season. Catalan and 2 playoff defeats and 2.5 games here so far in 2015. But John and Brian, so near for the Tigers, yet so far.
Yes, thanks very much, Eddie. But we're going to talk about some of those chances that Castleford had a little later in this analysis. We're going to start, though, with St Helens, because they got off to the best possible start, John, on the scoreboard after 10 minutes with Adam Swift's try. Talk us through this one.
It was the only highlight, though, in what I thought was a fairly inconsistent. They fumbled through the first quarter of the game. They really struggled to find the momentum. I think that's probably going to be the hangover that we were speaking about pre-game from the World Club Challenge.
Physical and mental hangover.
Correct, yeah. And here's the highlight. Now, after a stoppage in play, and I'm having a go at all the fullbacks this weekend, 10-second stoppage in play, how you can end up with 2 men short on the open side. It's 5 versus 7, midfield split. They should have had an extra number, particularly when your 2 main indicators in attack, Travis Burns and Johnny Lomax, are lurking at the edge of the screen there. So with that in mind, all was not lost on this, however. Junior Moores is the first one to sit on his heels. Just bear with me 1 second. Right, so we'll go back to this. Junior Moores just sits on his heels there. Now that in turn brings Luke Gale in. He's now going in because of that. So really, St Helens have got the advantage. Have a look at what Michael Channing's able to do. Michael Channing's just entered your screen on the right now.
It's probably worth saying they're busted at this stage.
Oh, they're gone. They're absolutely gone. It's the easiest thing in the world now for Michael Channing just to take his man and force that extra pass. But I think just keep your eye on the number 23, because he's able to read the play and make a slide off and rescue the situation. So he's now actually able to tackle Lomax. He does tackle Lomax. Denny Solomon has not given him the chance. I don't think he's had enough confidence in his inside man there. And he's decided to shoot the line too early, and he's left Swift with a walk in. It's a very difficult decision. We know we both played on that outside, and you have very little decision-making time, but I think you've got to have a bit more confidence in your centre.
Yeah, it was a great read by Channing in the end. Castleford chances, Eddie's referred to them at the top of the break. John, you've had a look at them as well.
Hard done to. Very hard done to. I think that comes out of the hands backwards. I think that is a legitimate try. This one a little bit more obvious for us. Now, this switch play on the last tackle, there's a reason for this, and they play for this. What they're planning on and what they got, when this ball goes open side, they're expecting these guys on the last tackle to switch off, and they do. Now, when the switch play comes back, across the back of the ruck here, you've got Shenton, who's ready to hit this ball and eat those metres up with Carney on his outside. That's played for. Don't forget the masterminds they have behind this, Ryan Sheridan, Danny Orr, 2 of the better ball-playing...
Darryl Powell himself.
And Darryl Powell as well, of the last decade or so. So this isn't just played off the cuff. This is worked for. And I think it worked really well as well. They get them. And but for the left hand of Johnny Lomax, just here, that's another try to Castleford. And they were, again, hard done to for me, because I think that Johnny Lomax's movement is forward with the arm, so that for me would be construed as a knock-on. So
another tough decision that goes against the Castleford Tigers, and then St Helens, as they've done to many teams. If the decisions, whether or not they go their way, they go back the other end of the field, and they put 4 more points on the board.
Yeah, and that's why those chances are so important to look at, because that's the switch. That's effectively a 10 or 12 point swing in the game there. Let's have a look at the final try of the half then. I love these. It's where they're actually played for, pre-worked, pre-play. Travis Burns, he's already looked at him once. He's just reminding Johnny Lomax what he wants from him. I'll try and stop this at the correct point in proceedings to show you everything that's there. At this point, Johnny Lomax, try assist. He's sat on the inside of Travis Burns. So Oliver Holmes or Nathan Massey are not really looking at him now. So Oliver Holmes, the guy on the outside, is looking at Alex Walmsley. Nathan Massey has got all eyes on the ball carrier, Travis Burns. And the line that Lomax takes is straight through this middle area here. And I think it's a great, really well-worked play. And then the pass at the end is even better. That's
Jordan
a great
Turner's
pass.
Effort.
That's
Jordan Tansey's effort, I should say.
Yeah, bit arm grabby. I mean, he's not played an awful lot in the last couple of years, Jordan, and that's and
he's referred to Luke Dorn in this game.
I think in all reality, I think Luke may well be, in terms of game fitness, a week or 2 off just yet. But I mean, he's not had a disaster of a first half by any stretch, and they're playing against the champions. Could do better.
Okay, 10-0 to St Helens. Castleford Tigers still in with a fight, Eddie. Look what happened yesterday in the second 40 minutes. We might expect the same tonight.
Yes, I wonder whether the Tigers will take some inspiration from the Huddersfield Giants, who came so close against the Leeds Rhinos. Huddersfield in a similar situation to Castleford, of course, not having won a match yet in 2015. When you think about it, last year, this team that captured our imagination, they won the first 5 of 2014. But that team has broken up. And can this new look Castleford, can they fight their way back into it for their coach Darryl Powell? We'll see in the second half.
Welcome back to Langtree Park, St Helens, the home of the champions, who lead by 10 points to 0 in this game against the Castleford Tigers. If you cast your minds back to last April, Saints won by 30 points to 28 at Castleford. It was one of the games of the year. Phil, that was one of the games of the year. We're going to get another one here.
Oh yeah, you'd expect the Saints to be ahead. They've had a bit more breaks and a bit more ground, but you can see most of the possession they've had has been in their own half of the field. If we turn it over and look at the opposition, well, a similar amount of possession, but far more of it at the left end, in good positions on the field, but unable to turn those into tries. They need to turn that around quick.
Well, still only 2 tries conceded by St Helens in Super League. Kieran Cunningham is the 8th permanent coach of the Saints in Super League era. It's a high standard he has to maintain, and it's a high standard certainly in defence that he is maintaining here in the Super League this year. And Castleford, well, they've got 40 minutes really to claim their first win of this new season. Lost by the narrowest of margins in their first 2 by 2 points against Wakefield, by a point in Perpignan. They have bags of fight in them. And Darryl Powell says performance is important. Once we get the performance right, the victories will come. Will it come in the next 40 minutes? Adam Milner with the dart from dummy half.
Well, John Wilkin very eloquently talked about how cavalier was the word that he used, how we play the game in this country. We look to pass, we look to take risks, and both teams have come out and they've done that in that second quarter. A little bit slow in the first half. Second quarter, they've thrown the ball around. How will they approach the second half? We've seen a glimpse of that in the first set of 6 for Castleford.
Luke Gale was so close then to picking up that little chip forward.
I think he pulled out, Eddie. He was called offside by the referee.
I thought there must have been some reason, Stuart.
Got to admire the variety, though, of Castleford's kicks. They don't just pass it to the first man and kick it into a predictable area of the field. They pass the ball across the line, drawing up the defenders, and then try to kick behind. The accuracy wasn't there to cause problems, but they are mixing up their options on the last play.
Roby to Travis Burns, kicking in early in the tackle count. Justin Carney picks it up and has a look what's coming at him. Oh dear, what a pass! It's a gift! It's a gift! It's a gift for Josh Jones! And every picture tells a story, Darryl. Every picture tells a story. Well, he looked and he assessed, and then he just flung the pass into no man's land.
Stick to the knitting. Put the ball under your arm. There's nobody in the league better running than you, Justin Carney. You should have just tucked this and gone. It's a big kick. It's a risk kicking to Justin Carney because he can return the ball. St Helens would have known that. Their defenders would be thinking now, this could hurt. But no, he's trying to do something he rarely does. Pass it across the face of the defence. And even if the ball had gone to hand, well, it would have been a difficult take at very, very best. This is a bizarre decision.
Well, Brian, he's pointing where he wants the ball carrier to go. He's expecting Michael Channing to be aware, be ready for that ball. There is a risk in it, but if it's a simple...
You'll often do that, Barry. You'll point to try to deflect the attention from you. Try and sell it to your defenders, the defenders facing you, I should say, that you're going to pass the ball. Then just charge the ball up.
What you might say, Brian, is pass the ball early. With an on-rushing defence like that, the pressure is only piled on with the fact that the defenders are coming towards you. Pass it early. If you've seen something, Justin Carney, pass it early and give Michael Channing a chance. You're putting all kinds of pressure under Channing. He fumbles the ball, and unfortunately it's a mistake that's cost them 4, possibly 6 points.
Well, Percival's lining the conversion up here, and well, Carney, you talk about telegraph passes. He pointed, and it was Josh Jones who read the script. It wasn't any of his own players. And Percival misses.
Well, that's
so they'll breathe a sigh of relief, the Tigers.
Well, they've had 27 visits to this ground, Castleford, and gone away without a win. They've stood behind their own post there, conceded an early try in the second half. But just as we saw with the Huddersfield Giants, as we get another view from behind the post here of what he must have seen. A wall of white defenders that encouraged him to pass the ball across the front of it, and it certainly hasn't started.
What's he seen,
Phil? I'm fascinated now about the response here from Castleford.
It could be a spot defender. Sometimes teams target specific defenders, whether they think they're weak defenders or they just want to take some petrol out.
Is there anybody better than him at running at weak defenders?
I don't know their game plan.
That can't be in it.
What, throwing the ball on the floor?
Simple as that, Barry.
Well, it was an error. It was an error of judgment, an error by Justin Carney, and I don't think he needs us to tell him just how bad it looked.
And then they compound the matter to give away. There's a little bit too much grappling, wrestling.
Well, they said they had 3 markers. You're only allowed to have 2 men if you're standing in front of the man who plays the ball. But they had 3, so that's a lack of concentration so early after conceding a try to give away a penalty.
And here comes Alex Walmsley. Roby at dummy half. In centre field, the Saints. Back it comes to Wilkin, and then Burns, and then Lomax is upended. Oh, Gale couldn't take that in. But I thought that would have been a free play, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I thought that would have been a free play for Castleford, wouldn't it?
Oh, the ruling there was no knock-on to start with.
Really?
That's what they ruled.
Okay. Okay, well, Saints won't be arguing.
It's a shame for Luke Gale. There isn't a knock-on, to be fair, and if Luke Gale doesn't have sausage fingers, he picks that ball up,
That was a
Castleford
knock-on.
have some possession.
This is a free play now for Castleford, but they don't or can't make anything of it because of St Helens' defence. Liam Finn plays the ball. Carney now, he won't pass the ball wildly inside this time, I'm sure.
No, I don't think he will. He'll tuck it under the wing, like Brian said. Pump those legs and try and chew up as many metres as he can.
For all Castleford's endeavour and for all Castleford's charity at times, you have to admire the St Helens defence, don't you? In the Super League.
I think one of the habits they've got better at in the off-season is moving up quicker to close down their opponents. That we call it defensive line speed, getting back on side with the ref and then shooting forward. It's been really successful for them in the games we've seen.
Percival carries it back, but only as far as Mike McMeekin and Luke Gale. Makinson.
It does disrupt your team when you get an injury out on the flanks. Very rarely will a team carry a player who on the bench who can play on the wing, Brian, and sometimes I mean we're going to get a good example of who it affects most in terms of Castleford or Saints. Percival looks very comfortable. I'm not so sure about Channing.
Well, they're both operating down the same side of the field, so the comparison will be maybe fairly easy to make. This is Wilkin to halfway on tackle number 5 for St Helens. Plays it to Roby. Back it comes to Burns under pressure from Milner. He gets the kick away. And again, the ball just won't settle down for Jordan Tansey.
Well, Kieran Cunningham said last week that his team were given a lesson of how to play rugby league at the highest level when South Sydney kicked the ball to gain ground. They were as accurate as that one. Here's some space for them now.
There is with Oliver Holmes. He's quick for a second rower, is Holmes. And good covering by Lomax.
He's having a growing influence on this game, whether it's providing a pass for a try, busting tackles, offensive wins they call them, or covering and making those last-ditch tackles.
Massey goes up the middle, route 1. And down he goes on tackle number 4. They're still 30 metres away, though, the Tigers. Finn and Tansey. Tansey has seen a gap. Lomax with a very good tackle. Wants to get up and play it quickly. Lomax falls all over him. Down the short side with Shenton. Good ball to Carney. And Justin Carney.
Well, Eddie, I'm sure there was some obstruction in the play before that. All of St Helens players were appealing for it. In fact, I think a lot of, even the Castleford team almost stopped at one time. But the ref played on. There seems to be an obsession the other way now. You can't find obstruction in the game.
Well, I don't agree. I think it was far enough away for Castleford to play on. I think Saints, if they're guilty of anything, it's not playing to the whistle. Here we see this wonderful break. Good pass from Liam Finn. And Jordan Tansey has a couple of decisions to make. Tommy Makinson makes it too difficult. The fullback has made the tackle. Tommy Makinson is pleading with Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook. Come out and give me a lip. And it's a wonderfully timed pass by Shenton.
How on earth did they not solve that? 2-on-2 down the short side. I've no idea why Tommy Makinson has come in on Michael Shenton on that occasion. Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook looked very comfortable. I know he got beaten against by South Sydney when he was defending out wide, but on that occasion, the narrow short side, I think Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook had no difficulties defending, and Tommy Makinson had no business coming in.
Agreed, Brian. He should have had a little bit more faith in the big fella who found himself slightly out of position. Maybe there was no communication. Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook in himself might have believed he could complete his task, but maybe not communicated that.
Well, Luke Gale here to try and add the conversion. After this, we'll hear from Stuart Cummings about whether it was a possible obstruction or not. He shaves the post with the kick, very close but not close enough. 14-4 to Saints, but Justin Carney has levelled off the register personally. Stuart?
Well, we've got movement across, and we get, I think it's Michael Shenton goes in and definitely makes a block to stop two players going across. There's a big gap there that opens it up for Tansey, and that's an obstruction.
Now here's the try. I don't know why Tommy Makinson has drifted in off his wing there. That, before I look at it, that Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook had his man, had Shenton comfortably. Makinson as you say, Barry, perhaps not had as much confidence on his inside man or in his inside man. Drifted in. Justin Carney held his wing. An easy try for him. Here he goes, wind up.
Not passing that one, is he?
No, he isn't. 48 tries now in 47 games. Just to finally clear up that possible obstruction. The video referees, of course, couldn't look at that again because it was one play the ball too many going backwards. So it was an on-field call by Richard Silverwood, and it didn't go St Helens' way, but at long last something has gone Castleford's way.
Absolutely. I'm sure everybody in Castleford, all the fans and spectators behind the post saying it doesn't matter, we were due one. We've had bad luck all night. Great offload.
Here they come again with Luke Gale. He's got support on his outside. He's got support on his inside too. And didn't Tansey take that well, but wasn't he tackled brilliantly by Makinson? And here is Milner. It's Gale again. Gale with a kick to the corner. He must be in if he catches it. And he does. Justin Carney. It's his second try in as many minutes. And Castleford are in this all of a sudden. It's shades of Headingley last night with the Huddersfield Giants fighting their way back against the Leeds Rhinos. Ultimately they lost the match. What's going to happen here? Castleford are battling their way back, and two tries from Justin Carney after he gifted one to Josh Jones in the opening moments. We've got a game on our hands.
Well, it was Justin Moore's break and offload that just created a little bit of chaos, and that's a pinpoint accurate kick to the big thing on the wing who danced the ball down. A nice bit of ad hoc. Luke Gale, right-footed, puts it perfectly in the path of Justin Carney, but put that try down to Junior Moores on the right side. I'm looking forward to watching that big fella get better throughout the year.
Wasn't that a brilliant try? Luke Gale had two huge influences in that. After the offload, he injected pace into the attack. Instantly, he looked lightning quick, attacking down this right-hand edge for the Castleford Tigers. A couple of plays later, after Tansey's tackle, then Luke Gale has had the wherewithal, the presence of mind to compose himself and put in that pinpoint kick, as you said, Barry. Great play by this man, who's now looking to tag on 2 extra points.
Yes, it's a vital kick for Luke Gale, this, because this will get them right back in the hunt. This will get them back to within 4. Oh, and he's missed with another. Well, it's a remarkable thing tonight, and the story is of missed goal kicks on both sides. Percival kicked his first for the swift try, but Makinson's try wasn't improved. Jones's try just wasn't improved, and Gale has missed with 2. There's the first. That was very close, but only just missed, and he's just missed with another as well. Justin Carney, well, you could say he's a hat-trick hero here, because he's given 1 to Saints and he scored 2 for Cass.
Oh, he can have a huge influence on games. Luke Dorn looking on as his side. Well, Luke Dorn will be happy. They'll be happy over in Yorkshire as well. Looking at this, the Castleford comeback.
That's a dreadful Yorkshire accent, Brian. Dreadful.
Carney here, and infielder comes to Oliver Holmes.
Release in! 2, hold, go, 2.
And here comes the Castleford Tigers once again. 52 minutes gone, 12 minutes, second half. Right back in it. Converted try, that's all the difference. Mind you, conversions, only 1 as we've seen tonight. Now, up the middle comes Boyle, halted by Greenwood's challenge.
Well, it got to Luke Gale. Yes, it does now. Does he just go for territory? put it high in the air for Lomax.
And the chase, well, they arrived a little late. Lomax is able to pouch it cleanly.
But they arrive in numbers, Eddie, and that's the main thing. You're right. The kick was a bit long for the chasers, but they've come down in numbers, and now they can try and force an error out of St Helens. Stay squeaky clean, no penalties. You got a great chance.
They'll be invigorated by this Castleford because they know, surely they know, that St Helens, after what they went through on Sunday, they must tire late in the game.
If their mind allows that, the top 3 inches controls everything else, Eddie. And if they're in the fight and if they're enjoying it and they're engaged in what they're doing, Saints will take this right to the 80th minute.
Mossy Massoy drives it forward for the Saints here. The only St Helens player in the Four Nations tournament down under last year's Mossy Massoy played for Samoa. And the kick from Roby was far too long. And I think Castleford will be pleased enough with this. Bring it back 20 minutes and have 20 metres and have another go.
Well, directly after the try, they constructed a good set, put in a decent kick. It was a little bit too long. It didn't give the chasers enough time, but it was a controlled set. Will they go the same way, or will they start offloading again?
Oh!
That was good footwork, Phil. I know Joe Greenwood ended up missing by just 6 inches or so, but wonderful footwork from Michael Channing.
I think he's missed him. He hasn't touched him, Barry.
He's been penalised for the attempt and the intent, you're right.
Well, a hole in the tennis racket there.
Maybe a good job he missed.
There was great footwork by Channing, absolutely. Castleford are right back in this game. We could have a really grandstand finish to this one, Eddie.
Let's hope so. Mike McNeek in here. The referee shouted held, so he'll bring it back and the play the ball will happen again. He offloaded after the call came. Milner. Infield it comes to Matt Cook.
He's done well since he come on, Matt Cook. Took those tough carries. Normally a quick play the ball, not on that occasion. And that's possibly why Travis Burns had enough time, had enough information to make the early jump on Liam Finn.
When you think the season that Matt Cook had last year as the skipper of London, Mossy Massoy.
Well, thank you very much, says Adam Milner.
Here's Massey. 20 metres out. And we've reached the last tackle. With Finn off the outside of the boot, looking for Carney again.
Good take. Confident take from Johnny Lomax.
Penalty which way?
Is it a blocker?
To Castleford.
Yeah, you look at the carnage at the back. I think it's LMS who just gets in the way of Shenton, is it? No, Justin Carney.
Well, shall we say the 50-50 decision in the first half went towards St Helens, but they're now going for the Tigers, and they've got to take advantage of this.
You talk about Louis McCarthy Scarsburg there, Phil, and it might have been him actually running a block.
So here comes Liam Finn. Now it's Matt Cook again. Castleford supporters who were relatively quiet during the first half have suddenly begun to find their voice. Milner and Finn, and wide it goes again. Tansey, it's offside. Oh, it's not offside.
I think it's an obstruction. Michael Shenton again.
No, he ran straight into him, didn't he?
He's ahead of the ball and he's in the defensive line. He's got to get out of the way.
And as soon as he did it, he looked directly at the referee.
And so did Travis Burns.
They need to get aggressive now with the defence. Grant Millington's back on now. He is one of Castleford's best players, the number 10, wrestling his opponent to the ground. They need to ratchet up the level here now. Every hit has to be as hard as they can find to really put the pressure to the champs.
Milner came up with one then on Richards. Roby chunning at him as he played the ball to him. Wilkin gets it away. Here's Greenwood. He gets away from a couple of them. Massey is there. Cook is there. Junior Moores is there.
Well, that's the danger, Eddie. If you turn the boiler up, you can't swap contact for control. Hit hard, but control makes sure you dictate how quickly your opposition play the ball and whether they offload it or not.
Wilkin, flat pass to Burns. Burns taking them on, brushing a couple away. Finn sticking to him. With help from Shenton, he goes down. Last tackle coming up here for the Saints. So Wilkin, left-footed, will hoist it high. Oh, it's into open space. This could bounce anywhere. This could bounce anywhere. Bounce is dead. They're lucky there, Castleford, because Josh Jones was hunting any opportunity.
Well, that's John Wilkins' pet play. He has a really good technique. It was as high as a mountain, and Justin Carney was nowhere near it. Nobody else wanted a bar of it. And I'm sure John Wilkins, his eyes will light up. He'll register that and think, I'll have another go at that one.
Release in! Hold! Go one.
Milner from dummy half.
Good tackle by Mark Flanagan. It's unusual in rugby league to keep subs on the bench, but Flanagan's been sat there for about 55 minutes.
Stop moaning.
He made his 60th appearance for St Helens last week against the Rabbitohs, did Mark Flanagan. Put in a good shift as well.
Release in! 3! Go, 3.
The referee said release him, and Televay never did. Here's Tanzi.
4! Clear it!
Liam Finn. Gale lays it off to Scott Moore. Last one coming up.
That's a control tackle. Greg Richards, good contact, good control.
Gale, he was under pressure, it was a little hurried. It's coming down to Percival. Pouches it cleanly, does Percival.
We're not giving him enough credit, Percival. He's playing on the wing. I know they've done that at various stages of his career, but he's in an unfamiliar position, having to learn on the hoof, and catching those high hanging kicks, that's a skill in itself.
Here comes a Televay again. He's stopped dead in his tracks, gets it away though to Roby, who finds Burns. He almost stumbled into it, did Kyle Amor. And Wilkin again. He sees the big open space again at the back for the Tigers, and that one does bounce. Look at the way it won't settle. It's about the third or fourth for Jordan Tanzi. He's had to wait and allow it to bounce. It bounces twice, bounces away from him.
There's some tired men out there. St Helens had a very attritional game against South Sydney.
Very much a confidence player, Jordan Tanzi. And he's let the ball bobble a few too many times for me. A bit of a worry.
They're looking Barry for a crusher tackle.
Is this a crusher tackle? Yeah, it was. Kyle Amor. What a 6 months it's been for him. Grand final. World Club Challenge Series, all adding to the experience. It looks pretty bad.
That's not
in his nature, Kyle Amor. Good hard-working player.
He's got to be conscious, Barry, of where the head is on that occasion as he's bringing him down.
Yeah.
But it's the pressure that he drops on the back of the neck. He's got the neck in a position.
And Amor is given the yellow card for this.
It's classed as dangerous contact, which is an automatic yellow card.
I don't think anybody watching would have a problem with that. Kyle Amor looks a bit
John
puzzled.
Wilkin does.
Well, I think John Wilkin is a man that advocates player safety in games. I think if he gets another look at that one, he'll realise that we can't have that. We can't expose players to this.
And we can't complain, Brian, when aspects of play are a little bit too physical, and we can't complain when the yellows don't come out if one comes out for that. Bit clumsy, no malice in it. I don't think Kyle Amor's that type of player. He is confused, the Cumbrian forward.
Well, you put it down as reckless more than any sort of nasty intent.
Yeah.
Well, Castleford going to get a question here. Can they handle it when the heat gets turned up? Because Saints have played at the highest level, Grand Finals, World Club Challenges, and they're really going to take this tempo forward now. They're down to 12 then, they have to lift another level, but they are capable of doing it.
The crowd of St Helens trying to lift their 12 men. Can they ferry the ball out to the left-hand side? That's a great challenge by Makinson on Jordan Tanzi.
Needed to be. There were two players outside as well.
Scott Moore bundling it forward. Mossy Massoy picking him up like a rag doll. Darryl Powell knows this is a crucial stage of the match. Matt Cook wasn't too impressed with all of that. Millington stopped dead in his tracks there.
He did. There was a Castleford support player. He felt, Grant Millington felt, he'd gone behind him. He stopped dead and put it in reverse.
Tanzi shaped a kick. Ooh, they go wide. That went back off the fingertips and again back from Shenton. Oh, they got a right pickle there on the last tackle. Tanzi should have taken his first option. His first thought was to kick.
Well, I said the Saints would turn it up. They certainly did it on those 6 plays. Castleford just couldn't cope. The referee stopped the game. Wants to speak to one of the St Helens forwards, Mossy Massoy, and a Castleford player.
Yeah, there's a bit of a late shot on Scott Moore, which Scott Moore reacted to. And that's what he's bringing them together for, I think.
But put that down to a defensive win. Kieran Cunningham might well show that in review on Monday. Mossy Massoy needs to clean it up a little bit. St Helens don't need another player in the sin bin. Look at his face. Look at that smile. Who, me, sir?
Is that a smile or a grimace? Was he really blowing there, trying to get some air into the lungs?
It was a smile. A plead of innocence.
Roby. Here he is now. Not smiling at the moment. Mossy.
It's almost a smile, Eddie. Ali Lawatiti used to play with a smile on his face.
Here's Lomax. Lomax saw a little gap that was closed by Michael Shenton. Oh, no, it wasn't. Sorry, Mike McMeekin. Now it's with Wilkin. Televe brushes off Finn. Can't get away from Holmes. The ball nearly came out the back.
Hasn't he been a good buy? Big, strong player on the edges, on the fringes, creating havoc every time he has his hands on the ball.
Wilkin and Burns. Oh, that was almost a pinch. In fact, it could have been wiped down, this tackle count. And he asks the referee if he's wiped it down. He says, no, I haven't. It's a knock-on there by Millington.
It's a good job and all. I'm going to be quite hard on Travis Burns here. Before this tackle, wonderful kick, bit of a fumble. Travis Burns is more intent and shouting, first of all at the players, and Adam Milner in particular, and then second of all at the referee. Just get up and play your ball. Give some time and space to James Roby. He's a very good player, and I expect better from him. He's pleading and asking for it to be back to on, Phil.
Well, the Castleford win here, the names of the players out to the field will go down in the club's history books because they don't do it that often. But to do it, Eddie, they have to hold out for these 6 players. They have to prevent St Helens from scoring to have any chance, in my opinion, of winning this match. And it won't be easy. They're going to force 2 splits here. They split the whole field. They may go to McCarthy's cars, but to the right. They're going to certainly try here to use the pace that they have in the backs to come up with a score.
They come left with Lomax, who gets it back to Jones. He's missed by 1. Channing gets the ball away. Here is Percival! Percival scores for St Helens. Or has he? What will he give? Try or no try? They'd have a try on the field. They want to check the grounding.
Well, it's the grounding in touch as well, I think, that they're looking at. His touches have put it down.
He's lost it.
Well, certainly, he's got his hand back on it before it goes to the floor. So I think that'll be okay. You know, there is some separation there, but his hand is back on the ball as far as I can see before it hits the ground. Don't quite see it on that shot.
I think it's a try, but I think it'll be hugely disappointing for the Castleford Tigers to concede a try off a scrum. And what Phil Clark says was a crucial point of the game.
Brian. Is his foot? He's got a luminous boot, Percival.
Yeah, his foot's okay. It's up.
The ball's down before the
I think there's enough to say that that's a try there for St Helens. But to concede off a scrum, really, at first play.
And to 12 men as well. The try is given to Mark Percival. 20 years of age. Twice he had tries turned down by the video referees against South Sydney. And this one has been given the green light.
Well, there's the strength. That's why Travis Burns was protesting. But one of the words in the changing room at St Helens is ruthless. And they were ruthless on this occasion. They force an error. Roby comes out, puts a kick in. Millington fumbles it. And from this scum, what about the skill, the power, the awareness? Again, one-handed offload around players from Josh Jones. And I think he's very lucky, Mark Percival. Needs to work on that aspect of his game. He's going to have chances like that more and more in his career. He's a wonderful player, and he needs to get those right. He did on that occasion, and just settles the nerves of St Helens.
Now, are we going to get a rare conversion here from Mark Percival? This is the 4th try. He's only managed to kick 1. And now he has kicked 2. Great kick from Percival, and something that will please Mike Rush, the chief executive here, and the former head of youth at St Helens, is that Swift, Nakinson, Jones and Percival are all youngsters who have scored the tries for Saints tonight, and they have come through the system. They've come through the Rush system.
They work very hard, don't they, here, and Derek Trent is another member of that list of people of staff who's done his best to influence the club for 10 years. I think Josh Jones deserves more credit than what we've given him there. His play there is classic centre play to firstly evade the man, take the tackle, and then release the ball to your winger. You know what? If you go back over the last 100 years of rugby, a centre that can do that for his winger develops a great understanding and obviously gets himself picked more often than not. Josh Jones does really well there to put on what I think will be the match-defining try in this match.
Big run from Mossy Masoi, gets the offload away as well. Roby's pass is just behind everybody. Here's Josh Jones again. And McMeekin got to him. Wilkin to Lomax. Another of their homegrown talents. Amor still off the field. Saints have scored a try during his absence. Flanagan plays the ball. Burns kicks it up the middle of the field again. Well, they waited for him.
Because they know the danger of his footwork. We saw with John Greenwood and that penalty. He has got late footwork, but it was a good, clean set from Saints. They'll be fully focused on making this a clean defensive set as well.
Moore. That's Scott Moore. 11 years ago he began here at St Helens. It's Scott Moore. Catalan Dragons Warrington. Late lunch for everyone tomorrow. You can watch that, and then you can see all the tries from that, this, and last night, and everything that's played over the weekend. Super League full time on Monday night. It's another forward pass rule against the Tigers, this.
Scott Moore's mystified. There was a bit of messing about. Straight off the floor, so Luke Gale, did he time his run? Did he mistime his run? Scott Moore's pleading innocent. And again, Darryl Powell.
That looked a bit flat again, Stuart, honestly. There didn't look much forward in that.
Well, it was flat, but also Robert Hicks is right in line with it, and he's called the pass. So he's probably in a slightly better position than us, but it was a close one.
He's perplexed, Scott Moore. I think Darryl Powell will really be dismayed at this performance. In the last, I suppose, 15 minutes or so from this Castleford Tigers side, they have a man advantage. Weren't too bad at half-time. Still doable, but the game looks to be slipping away from them now.
It's almost impossible, Brian, when you're making fundamental errors. Get a little bit deeper, time your run onto the ball. Castleford are their own worst enemies at the minute.
Movement from St Helens. And Lomax slips the net of Gale. Good job Millington was there. He goes down on the 20-metre line. Roby. Mossy Masoy's on his shoulder. Takes 3 to bring Big Mossy down. Roby again to begin another move with Travis Burns and then Lomax. Good tackling by Channing. Helped out by McMeekin.
You can only do that so many times. Johnny Lomax has enough skill to catch and pass that at the same time.
High and wide, looking for the runners. Oh, Makinson had it. And he let it go. It's a knock on by Tommy Makinson. The Televay is denied the try.
Chance here for a quick restart. It does go forward. You can see clearly from Tommy Makinson. So Ataleve's try is disallowed. And Castleford here, nice urgency from them. Shenton goes forward. There are individual efforts, but the need, and it's very hard when you're behind and you get to the last 10 minutes, to do collectively what you have to do as a team to score and break down your opponents. I admire the individual effort and bravery, but they need to try and combine here to break through the Saints.
Millington to Gale, and here they come again with Junior Moores. That marauding run down the right flank early in the first half.
And he's only get better when players get used to him. Players like Luke Gale, who is a wonderful support part to his play. Once he starts tracking and following that.
Now then, they've got a man on the overlap wide here, and it's Justin Carney. And St Helens read the script. He stays inside the whitewash just. Well, he moves 5-6 metres off the mark. Has a push and a shove with Travis Burns. Finn's kick across field is looking for the big man and only finds Wilkin. He did well there, the captain. Amor is about to return. Saints are going to be back to 13.
Kyle Amor will be desperate to make up. Desperate to give some positives back to his teammates. Watch for an early carry from that man, but Castleford need to be better than that. They need to ask more questions than that. It was simply just going through the hands on Castleford's left edge. Justin Carney ended up with it and possibly even could have been penalised for it being a bit scrappy at the play of the ball.
We're coming up to the last 10 minutes of the match. Amor back in the action, as you can see. There are just 12 points separating the two sides, 2 converted tries, but well, Castleford have to score pretty quickly. This ball bounces horribly for the Saints, and Carney has it. Here he goes. Carney flings the ball inside to Oliver Holmes. Oliver Holmes for the corner.
Good speed, Eddie, wasn't it, from him?
The big fella, Walmsley, back covering.
Finn to Shenton. Gale wanted it, and it eventually found its way to him. Oh, over the shoulder. It's play on. Channing. 5 meters away. Castleford score now. We're in for a bit of a finish. Oh, McMeekan. He went round the back of Channing, but they managed to get him with the tackle just the same. Channing is there again.
Got one of those St Helens defenders was onside.
Here's Finn. And Tansey and Shenton. Good hit, Makinson. Played well tonight, Tommy Makinson.
Magnificent tackle. Good reads all night from that fella.
Up the middle again with Millington. You have to admire St Helens' defence so far. Can they stand firm with this last tackle? Finn over the top.
Yes is the answer, Eddie. Wonderful concentration. The ball goes on the floor. Justin Carney can't catch it on the bounce. Liam Finn takes it all the way into contact, passes the ball into space. He probably expects Jordan Tansey to be there.
You know what, if we go back a minute or two, what was interesting was Justin Carney's reluctance to take it on when he got the ball on the left-hand side.
Seemed to pass it very early. I mean, St Helens would be delighted with that defensive effort, and they've every right to be, but I think Castleford Tigers as well, they'll be disappointed with their attack after such a good break. I mean, Mike McMeekan could have got done in the corner here, running into the back of Michael Channing.
Roby only knows one way, and that's towards the post, but he's only just over the halfway line. 8 minutes remaining of the match, 12 points to gap. And here's Luke Thompson.
Will they go for the one-pointer?
No. On the last up it goes off the boot of Wilkin again into that big hole, and this time couched by Carney, and someone slipped and off he goes. Carney.
Oh, it's a great return but a fumble,
and Makinson again with a very telling tackle. Burns, Flanagan and Jones.
Well, it was a good take from Carney. Fumbles the ball. Nobody wants to get tackled.
We've got an obstruction in the play there, but it was a free play, so they're going to go back and get the knock on by Carney. So that play's been stopped because of the obstruction in the play.
Such a big man to control, but Tommy Makinson, who's lining up against him, seems to have him in his back pocket. Big, powerful, lethal near the line, but when those high kicks, those high bombs go up from John Wilkin, as we see the obstruction again. Televay stood still. Saints get this ball back. Will we see one of your favourite scrum plays, Phil?
Yeah, well, they need something, don't they, here?
Time back on.
Roby from loose forward gives it to Flanagan. 7 minutes remaining. Roby again. Amor, a bit fresher than most after his 10 minutes in the bin. Goes down 5 meters shy of the line.
Here you go, Phil.
And here's the drop goal from Wilkin that settles it.
And you might question why, with the scoreline as it is, why would John Wilkin think about going for the 1 point? But it's good practice, good habits to get into when we need to do it, when it actually matters, and when it counts. We've already done it several times before.
And in terms of this game, it means that Castleford now have to score 3 times. So it was good game management by the skipper.
Adam Reynolds did the same, didn't he? Good game management. It meant Saints had to score 9 times, I think, when he popped over the 1 pointer at the end of that game.
Well, he knows a bit about drop goals, doesn't he, Sean Long? Castleford's ball at the scrum.
I think Cass are going to get some possession late in this game. And a number of those players now will be looking towards next week, trying to end and finish this game on a positive. Tillervey just fumbles it. Lots to work on if you're a Castleford player. We talked about Darryl Clark and how influential he was for the Tigers last year. We forget Mark Sneed, of course.
Yes, absolutely.
When Cass were in tough, tight spots, he was another player that came up with something a bit special and a bit different. They just don't look to have that so far in 2015.
Well, we're watching St Helens' 200th weekly round home win in the First Utility Super League tonight. Mentioned that earlier on, and we've just seen another little milestone from the skipper, John Wilkin. He's just kicked his first drop goal for 10 years. It was Saints against Lee away. They won 27-20. It was a bit closer than this on that occasion.
Eddie, you talk about the short turnaround. Well, this is brilliant work from St Helens. You see the kick come in. They rewarded a penalty. Luke Gale will dribble it in. Channing offside on that occasion, but the effort they were able to put in defence, Eddie, with that short turnaround that you referenced from Sunday's defeat to the South Sydney Rabbitohs, this is brilliant from St Helens. It should bring a smile to Kieran Cunningham's face to know that his side can go out and put a defensive effort like this in against a side that have had 2 weeks rest and should be fresher coming into this Super League encounter.
And this awful run, there he is, Kieran Cunningham. They have a statue in bronze of him above this stadium. The new St Helens coach in 2015. And Darryl Powell, the coach of the year, is frustrated with the start that he has made this year. Like Huddersfield, two of the front runners all the way through last season. They're both without a victory at the start of this.
Well, if you look from a Castleford point of view, they don't often win here, so that's not a surprise, Eddie. And they rarely win in the south of France, which they've also lost there, haven't they? So it was only the defeat at home to Wakefield that you'd have to say is a blip really on their record in comparison to other previous seasons.
Positive, Phil?
Well, I don't think they've done bad. They never win here. I say never, not for 27 efforts. This is 28. The ball's come free. Who wins in the south of France? Not that many teams. They got hammered there last year. They lost by a point this year. It's pretty progress with the new team.
Catalan win quite a few down there.
Yeah, they do, and there's plenty of progress, I suppose. That's the positive spin. But, you know, for Castleford, it doesn't get any easier because they've got Wigan next at home. Then they go to Huddersfield. How big will that be? It's on the 12th of March, and that is live with us. And then after that, they take on Salford at home, and that could be a big match at the wrong end of the table as well, the way things are going this year. Finn spins it wide to Shenton. Down the line goes Shenton. They've not shown lack of effort, Castleford, have they? They've just come up against a very good defensive unit in the Saints, who can score a try or two, as we know, historically.
And the rebuilding process for Darryl Powell is ongoing. He's got a couple of months to get it right, and he's already alluded to his philosophy on it. He's going to focus on performances, focus on the process of what they do, perfecting that, and then the results will come. He'll take some positives from this, but I think there'll be some negatives that they can address and they're capable of getting right.
Massey. John Keir was saying on the programme last night he reckons 15 wins will get you into the top 4. So, you know, it's one every three. It is a great kick and a great try from Tansey.
And you know what, I'm not trying to spin this now to make the Tigers trip home any happier, but they had 2 tries disallowed in the first half. We all thought they were a little unlucky. They haven't been that far off it in this game. Haven't been that far off it.
No, lovely kick, and read perfectly by the try scorer.
Well, I think Luke Gale's been one of the better performers for Castleford Tigers. He knew where Jordan Tansey was going to be. He'd have got the call on his left side, on his inside, and Jordan Tansey had enough pace, enough timing in his run to first of all catch the ball and then get it down.
Well, he got a try against the Catalan Dragons in Perpignan 2 weeks ago, did Jordan Tansey, and he's followed that up with a try here tonight as well. Nice crossfield kick that from Gale.
The last 5 minutes in a defeat like this is the first step to the next match, and the next one coming up for them is very important. As I say, they'll do some work during the week, and Darryl Powell, too long in the tooth to have any kind of knee-jerk response to individual results and performances, but he's got all the tools to get this Cast side where they need to be.
Well, they've suffered a few drubbings here of Castleford over the years, so let's jump on Phil's bandwagon for Castleford. You're right, a 7-point defeat is not too bad. And when you think about it, it was 2 against Wakefield. It was 1 in Perpignan. It's only 7 here tonight. You're right, Phil. You're spot on. They're not far off. They are not far off.
Most games have gone against them this year. They went for them last year, but I go back to the point. You said is it the 200th Super League victory today?
At home. Yeah.
They are the most successful rugby league club in this country since the game switched to be played in summer, and you have to compliment that. It's several years since they won a grand final. They did it last year, but the consistency at winning games in the Super League competition is admirable. And getting to grand finals as well. Oh, okay, they lost them, but they still kept getting to them. And Shenton gets the ball away really well to Moore. That was a risky pass. He does well though, Gale again, and that's flicked out the back. Oh, this is risky, this is risky. They get it back, they get it back, yes, he wipes the tackle count clean. They get a penalty to Castleford. We're going to have the final siren in 1 second.
Well, it's a very scrappy end to the match from Castleford, who have nothing to lose. You can understand why they're throwing the speculators, but they've got one last play.
Hey, John Wilkins,
1 second.
John Wilkins' looks a lot more important than it did a few minutes ago when one or two people were laughing at his decision to take it.
Well, we'll see. It all depends on what happens here. Gale into centre field to Finn. Finn to Holmes, and then Shenton fly hacks it forward. Lomax to the rescue. Lomax will just take the tackle, and St Helens will take the 2 points. 3 games played, 3 wins. Exactly the same as the Leeds Rhinos. They are joint top of the table tonight. Goal kicking for both sides has been a problem, but we've had 4 tries for the Saints, 3 tries for Castleford, only 2 improved for Saints, only 1 improved for Castleford. 21-14. A narrow victory for St Helens, but they will be pleased with that after their exploits in the World Club Challenge last weekend. And for Castleford, well, the agony looking for their first win goes on, but each and every game they play in, they're showing signs that 2014 might not be such a distant memory. There is the man of the match, Josh Jones. He's with Rod Studd.
Josh, well done, well played, because that was a tough game for Saints to play off the back of the South Sydney game. What was the mood like in the camp this week?
Well, obviously the boys were very down after the defeat. It was a tough game, but we always thought that we could get back into it and get back on the pedestal for this week, because we're top of the league, and 3 out of 3 not too bad in Super League. It's such a tough league, so yeah, we're going all right. Yeah, to be beaten by South Sydney doesn't mean you're not one of the top sides in Super League, because they're a cracking side, as we know. How tough was it physically, though, to bounce back? Because that was a really physically tough game against South. Yeah, they've got a big part, but don't get me wrong, we've probably got the best back in the league, so it's one of them. It's part of rugby. We enjoy it, and that's what all the boys enjoy, so it's not that tough, to be fair. We all enjoy it, so it's good. You tried for yourself and an assist as well, but just tell us what you're thinking when Justin Carney threw that pass inside at the start of the second half. Oh, it's one of them, minute. Rugby's to and fro. We get chances, they get chances, but can't read too much into it. It's just part of rugby league. Top of the league you are now as well, off the back of Leeds win last night. You've gone back above them. I know it's early, but it still means something, doesn't it? Oh, of course. It's nice to be at the top. Hopefully we can carry on from where we left off last year. Good, well played, Josh. Let's bring Michael Shenton in. Michael, thanks for coming across to talk to us. Tough night for Castleford. Did you get the feeling that the Saints were there for the taking tonight?
Absolutely. We thought that all week. We prepared really well for this game. It's what best we've trained coming into it, and we showed glimpses, but same old like brain explosions. We just can't seem to get in the grind of a game at the minute. We'll be right in there, then we'll do something so stupid. It just puts them under too much pressure instead of building pressure on the other team, and we've got to build on that. And it's always a tough place to come in St Helens, and some really good stuff in there, but there's plenty to work on. It's kind of been the theme of the season, Michael, hasn't it? Because you've been so close 3 times. You could arguably have won all 3 games, yet you won none of them. That's what it's like, though. Nearly every game's really close in Super League, so we've got to keep at it, really, keep training hard, believe in ourselves, and just keep growing as a team. But we're getting better at certain things, but
it's like the same old. Our smarts are pretty terrible at the minute, so we're kind of capitulating ourselves, really. It's a bit disappointing. The boys will be disappointed, but at least the effort's there, and like I said, still plenty to work on.
Thanks for talking to us, Michael. Appreciate your time. John Wilkins here. John, come on in. It was a tough game, that, wasn't it? Really tough game. Just saying to Josh off the back of the Souths game, this was always going to be a difficult one for you.
Yeah, I suppose physically, yes. You know, to back up tonight is a bit of a mental challenge. I thought we were poor, you know. First half, we were poor. And we need to start games better. We've really only started one game well this year, and that's not good enough, you know. We need to improve a lot, and that's just not... You know, we won the game, but I think anybody watching that game would admit that Saints were scratchy. We've got to work on that.
Was it your experience that won the game? Because you kind of knew how to grind out a result somewhere, somehow.
Yeah, I mean, we were really confident we could get a result tonight. We just couldn't really get a consistent patch of the game together where we did everything well. We either attacked well and defended poorly, or defended well and attacked poorly. So, you know, it'd be nice for us to put all that together, you know, in you know, one stint. But credit to Cass, they made it a tough game for us. They play with a lot of movement. We've got a lot of big men who pass the ball well, and as a result, you know, they're a dangerous side. They showed that last year, and, you know, even though they've lost Darrell Clark and a few other players, they're still going to be quite potent threat with the ball this year.
You still drop a goal, can't you?
It's the reduced expectation, I think.
First time in 10 years, apparently, is that right?
Yeah, hopefully the last. Yeah, the power of reduced expectation. I think everybody saw the ball come back to me and thought, this is going west, but it went over. So.
Good, well played, John. Thanks for talking to us.
John.
Kieran's here. Kieran, how hard a week has that been for you as the head coach to try and get them prepared after the mental and physical toughness of South Sydney?
Yeah, it's really difficult. Really difficult. I mean, you've got probably two other teams in Wigan and Warrington who'll show us what they've got off the back of their game with the Australian sides, but we've had a really short turnaround this week, and we've been through half of a bit of a run through yesterday, and you know, we've not had a chance to do anything on the field, and I've got a group of young players, and credit to them for hanging in there. I thought they were extremely dumb in certain areas, and you know, I thought Cass came with a game plan and to slow the ruck down, and that's what they did, and we just couldn't seem to get a bit of a roll on. But our game management could have been a little bit better, but we've got a good week turnaround now, and we a chance to get back on a training field and have a look at a few videos and work on a lot of things. You mentioned the youngsters, though. All 4 tries were from Saints youngsters. Do you take a little bit of pride in that as a club? Yeah, it was good. I mean, I thought the outside backs were a lot better tonight. Last week, they really let us down in a lot of areas, and they put our big men under pressure. And a couple of times tonight, they did similar things. But Attila again was outstanding. James Roby was, you know, he's just phenomenal what he does for the team. And you know, without them two tonight at certain points, then you'd wonder where we'd be. Good man, well done. Back top of the league. Thanks, Kieran. Thank you very much. And Darryl Powell's here as well. Darryl, appreciate your time coming across to talk to us. And rightly applauding the Castleford supporters because they're stuck with you tonight, haven't they, right to the bitter end. Just how frustrating is that? Because Michael Shenton saying you felt Saints were there for the taking tonight, and it appeared like that for much of the match.
Oh, yeah, we've been in 3 games now, lost them all. Should have probably got something out of most of them, all of them, to be honest. And you know, I just don't think we're a real functional team at the moment. You know, boys are working hard. We're having a little bit of bad luck with injuries. You know, his 2 boys couldn't go back on there today, which was disappointing. There's not a lot you can do about that, but you can certainly do a fair bit more about the way you play with the ball. And at the moment, you know, the opportunities we had in the first half we needed to take, couldn't take them. Story of our season so far, opportunities to win games, and we haven't quite been good enough. You had some bad luck with forward pass decisions that might have gone another way, and Michael talking about brain explosions as well. You can't legislate when your gun winger throws a pass across his own try line. No, well, we've got a fair few dumb things going on in each game at the moment, which, you know, you go back to the Wakefield game, we pretty dumb there and lose it, and then same at Catalan, and obviously here tonight, just a team that we're obviously going to be low on energy. Yeah. We felt like we'd pulled a game together that at half-time we were 10-0 down, but I thought we were going to win the game. I thought we'd win it in the last 10 minutes. Obviously that from Justin, unacceptable to be honest, you know, from an outstanding player like him. And the boys have got to smarten up a little bit, I think. So it's obviously it's clearly disappointing that we haven't got any points on the board at the minute. But I do think it'll come. It's just needs to come pretty quickly, I think, for us all at the moment.
Thanks for joining us, Darryl. Appreciate it.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks, Gal. Top man.
Well, perseverance pays. I'm sure that will be Darryl Powell's message to his players in the dressing room in a few minutes' time. But the dreadful away record against St Helens continues. It's now 28 visits to this town, and they haven't gone home celebrating a victory. It is a massive test for the team of 2014 to get it together now in 2015, but the champions march on. So a Super League Friday victory for the champions, 21 points to 14. But if you're a Castleford fan, well, and you're looking for any encouragement, last time you were here, you were beaten in the playoffs by 41 points to 0. So much closer this time, and plenty of the second half, I'm sure, for Brian and John to look back on now.
Thanks, Eddie. That's called clutching at straws, I think. 10-0 at half-time to St Helens. Darryl Powell would have looked at his side and thought, look, we still got a chance in this game. Minute into the second half, Justin Carney's brain explosion contributed to a Josh Jones try, but then Carney redeemed himself, John, with 2 tries in the space of 3 minutes to give Castleford a great chance in this game.
Yeah, it was a bizarre opening 10 minutes to the half, wasn't it? So we saw the best and the worst of Justin Carney. 2 good finishes. This was the first. Didn't have all that much to do. First thing we're just going to have a quick look at. That obstruction was an obstruction on Travis Burns from Michael Shenton, so there's an argument there that this should never have been allowed to continue. However, it was. Now, here we're going to start picking some bits and pieces up now, because I think this is quite smart from one man in particular who sits and he's talking to the base of the ruck at the moment. That's Michael Shenton. He's seen Tommy Makinson, who's just disappeared out of shot over here. You can see his shadow. And you've got Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook, who's coming back as a he's having a breather, really. Short side, he won't mind me saying. He's struggling there. Alateave is sat behind the ruck. So Shenton obviously sees there's something on there. Now, he's communicated with Carney, he's communicated with Oliver Holmes at the base of the ruck. You just have a look at his movement. And I reckon this movement here back, just at the point of play the ball, gives Castleford the advantage. However,
I did ask you if you thought he might be called out of the play because he's clearly offside, but you think no, he's still involved in the play, and referee wasn't worried about that.
I think, well, I mean, either way, I think he's too far physically, and this is Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook we're talking about, physically too far away from the referee to hear anything, even if he did. What I would say is that Tommy Makinson, right from the start of that play, as soon as he sees Michael Shenton switching across the ruck, he's going to feel very nervous, and there'll be weight in his left leg thinking, I might have to come in here. And I think that perhaps explains what happens next, because although it actually looks there that that's solvable, I think Makinson's already decided that there may be a problem there, and he's dived in. That's going to be hard to explain in a video session. He might want to show this bit of footage for a bit of moral support, I think. And then this was his second, which you mentioned in commentary, and I agree 100%. I think Luke Gale was outstanding. We just put a little tracker on him here to show his hustle. We spoke about South Sydney last week in hustle in defence. Look at this for hustle in attack. Down on the floor after the break, bosses the ball, an overcall there, and then very quick to see Carney with his arm at the top of his screen to finish off second of 2 in 10.
We did. We saw some great attacking tries, and we saw some great edge defence as well, John. You had a couple of examples from both sides.
Yeah, it was great, wasn't it? And this is Percival. It was Channing who was out of position, and he's got that on Lomax super. And this is probably why the game was a contest for longer than it was. Before Percival scored that try from the scrum on the 64th minute, they made it a game because of reads like that in defence, and they came up with two of those in the second half, which made it much more enjoyable for a much longer period.
Quickly, Castleford out of 10 for that performance.
7.
7 and 10 out for Castleford, Eddie. Plenty of work for Darryl Powell still to do. Back to you.
Yes, lots of work for Darryl Powell to do, and I think Kieran Cunningham in his after-match interview, he said there was plenty for him to do as well. Tired bodies, tired limbs, tired minds after the South Sydney defeat. Not the greatest match, let us be frank, but it was there for the winning for Castleford. It was.
Yeah. I mean, I think St Helens did well, didn't they, after what they went through last week to play and win. Maybe that's why they are a champion side, as the supporters were singing behind the pitch. They took the chances and they converted them. For Castleford, they must be so disappointed. When they watched that game again, they had chances, I think so many chances to win it, and weren't quite good enough to take them. So that's a real disappointment for them. But I think before they get to the end of the season, they'll beat many of the top sides because they have a variety of rugby that is unpredictable. When it's at its best, it will take time for them to find some cohesion. When they're attacking at times, they were passing the ball. When the defenders were 10 and 15 metres away, they had time to recover and reset and go and tackle somebody else. The timing of their attack wasn't as good as it was last year when they were really hurting teams.
I think we ought to tip our hats, though, to the St Helens defence. You know, they will have been fatigued. They thought that we're going to fall in a heap in the last 20 minutes, but the defence just kept on coming all night.
Well, you talked in commentary about which team will have learnt most from the World Club Challenge experience or the 3-2 plan. I think St Helens demonstrated tonight. Territorially, they kicked the ball early in the tackle count. They wanted to trap their opponents at the other end of the field, force mistakes. They came up with a try early in the second half. They seem to have learnt that aspect about territorially controlling a match. And defensively, I thought their defenders moved up quicker onto the Castleford side, and ultimately that might have just been the difference tonight with them.
Well, we'll see whether Warrington and Wigan have learnt their lessons from the World Club Challenge over the next few days. You'll be able to see whether Warrington have tomorrow afternoon, 1:55, Sky Sports 3. They're in Perpignan to face the Catalan Dragons, and that should be quite a game because Todd Carney rumoured again to be making his debut in Super League. So that's tomorrow, the Catalan Dragons against the Warrington Wolves. Then, of course, Wigan, they go to Hull Kingston Rovers on Sunday, and you'll be able to see all the tries and the action from that in Super League full-time on Monday night. There we are then. That's us done and dusted for the weekend. But don't forget tomorrow, Catalan Warrington from Phil, me and all the team. Bye-bye.